but they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
The 2011 winner of the Heisman Trophy is Robert Griffin III, RG3.
Welcome to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Langoliers, base hit to center, and the Baylor Bears win their first Big 12 tournament championship.
Their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Yep, just ready for OU.
You can't handle the truth.
Here's Drake Toll.
Let's go! Welcome into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den, or guess what it should be, and instead it's just my room and picture of a fireplace behind me. I'm Drake Toll. J.D. Pickell is with us in and out, still battling some connectivity issues. Armstrong Sims is somewhere out there in the void today producing the show, still from a friend's house because he doesn't have internet at his own house. J.D. Pickell finally has power at a friend's house still. So these guys are picking up the pieces, as most Central Texans and Texans in general are right now. But those guys are both on the line. J.D. Pickell will be back with us here in just a second. He was letting me know his connectivity issues caused him to drop. The intro causes you to drop, apparently. But he's back now. J.D. Pickell, T Bears Den. J.D., here's really where I want to start, and I think I'd be remiss if we didn't. These last few days, specifically this last week, even dating, I would even say dating back to Sunday, really, have been such a tumultuous time for the state of Texas. A lot of our viewers, people that, I was talking with my friends yesterday, and I said, we're still doing the show. And she said, well, how is anybody watching? Nobody in Texas has power. They don't have water. I mean, people are battling. I mean, people have lost their houses due to that. I've got friends that have lost houses due to this storm. And this is truly, I know we keep saying this over the course of last year, but this is not only unprecedented, but this is a once in a lifetime event in the state of Texas.
It's unbelievable. And it's nice for me because now I can say, hey, why is nobody watching your show? It's like, well, hey, listen, nobody has power, so I have something I can blame it on now, which is really great. But absolutely unbelievable. Credit to you and Armstrong for what you guys have done production-wise to get this thing going, because I know you guys have both done a lot of legwork to make this happen. So all the props to you guys. I know you wouldn't say it, but props to both of y'all for all you've done to make this happen.
Thanks, man. I mean, it's been a hassle, and it's so weird knowing that seriously, so many people are out there right now without power. They don't have heat. They don't have electricity, and they don't know when that's going to change. Today's not going to climb above freezing. There's still 1.5 inches of packed snow and ice on the roads. I got a text this morning from a buddy of mine that said the roads today are worse than they have been yet, just because that thin layer started to melt off yesterday and then froze right back over last night. So Things are not getting better. Restaurants are opening up here and there. I don't think Baylor will be open tomorrow. Baylor's not open today. And by the time we look up on Monday and things have thawed and melted, I think you're going to look back and see a lot of destruction in the wake of what this winter storm has done to the state of Texas. This is a monumental time that we're experiencing right now.
And like you said, all those pipes that burst at your buddy's house that we showed, was it maybe Tuesday or Wednesday? I forget which day it was exactly, but all the pipes that had burst from there, I mean, there's just going to be a lot of wreckage even after, like you said, things thaw out. So I'm looking out the window right now. It doesn't look a whole lot more inviting than it did yesterday. The temperatures are finally out of the teens, but freezing is freezing nonetheless. So it's honestly, like you said, unprecedented. So thank goodness we're still having a show. But I think that there's still quite a bit of groundwork that needs to be done before we're anywhere back to normal.
Absolutely. Scott Bancali says, I'm staying warm and healthy after relocating. And that's a lot of people right now that are relocating new houses. I know we were an asylum for folks yesterday in our own home that we brought in, 4 friends that don't have power. They don't have water. I don't know if you saw this, but a message started going around saying the people of Waco, the city of Waco, folks need to start filling their bathtubs up because they were going to take out all the water in the city. So that was a huge thing. This message goes around where folks are saying, fill up your tubs, fill up your bowls, fill up your hats, fill it all up with water because Waco's shutting the water off tonight unexpectedly, and you better have water to flush your toilet. Turns out that was never true. But what it did with people filling up, Waco averages, I think it was like 10 million gallons of water a day. It may be off. it was 10 times, like some 100 million gallons of water, 10 times the typical amount of water used in Waco was used in one day because of that message going around. And now Waco, for the next 48 hours, has a water shortage. So on top of the no power, no internet, no water.
No, it's crazy. I think the whole social media rumor, I don't know exactly where it stemmed from, but it sounds like the worst thing that we could have done was hoard all the water. But it was funny. I was reading that message and said, hey, the social media thing is fake. Don't take all the water. If you do take all the water, we're going to have to start turning off water. I'm like, well, that just makes me want to take all the water. Why would you tell me that? Now I do want to take all the water because you told me that you're going to turn off the water, but you haven't turned off the water yet. So this whole thing has been very confusing here. I have no idea what's true.
Got a lot of folks watching right now on Twitter through the SicEm365 Radio Twitter account. Go ahead and jump on over to the YouTube, Facebook. We're on Roku. You can watch live the best way, whatever's most convenient for you. Say, hey, Alexa, I got an Alexa right here, but she's off because we lost power for a little bit. Hey, Alexa, turn on SicEm365 Radio. Up-tempo will be blasting through your Alexa all day long. Jump on the YouTube, put it on your TV, watch it on your Roku all day long. You can watch Up-tempo, not 24/7 necessarily, but 11 to 2, Monday to Friday. Myself, Drake Toll, J.D. Pickell right here running and gunning. J.D., give me an update. We talked a little bit about the weather there and things going on locally. Again, a lot of people still without power. Folks that have lost their homes due to this right here. Folks that have lost their homes. For you, give me an update on your health and where you are. Oh, I promise that is not indicative of how J.D. Pickell is really doing. He is at a friend's house. J.D. doesn't have power at his actual house right now, but he is making it work. And finding a way to stay warm at a buddy's house right now, coming off of illness. And I think he's jumped right back in. Yeah, he has. So, JD, walk me through kind of where you are. Yeah, walk me through where you are and what the last couple of days have been like for you.
You know what? It's been really crazy. I was talking to a lot of people yesterday via phone and obviously texting a lot, but it's been really remarkable to see how much support people have rallied around the entire community. I know me specifically, I've received a lot of just encouragement and support in a lot of different ways. Like I said, I'm staying at a buddy's house who already had a similar virus. Actually driving over here, it was obviously very slippery with the roads and tumultuous conditions, and got stopped at a red light over a hill. And tried to hit the gas and my car wouldn't move. It started fishtailing, and I was like, this is awful. Like, I'm so close to finally being somewhere with power after my apartment obviously didn't have power. And it must have been an angel. Someone ran off the sidewalk, pushed my car in a matter of 20 seconds. I was already moving forward. And so I think just stuff like that, from, random acts of kindness to, I know a lot of different warming centers throughout Waco have opened, the different churches, and they turn themselves into warming centers and all throughout Texas. And so for me, I'm good. I'm in a safe place. Electricity, heat, which is a lot more than I think a lot of people can say right now, somewhere for that. But to see the way that a lot of different communities around Texas have rallied has been nothing but encouraging and really restores a lot of faith I think everyone has in humanity. So I'm all good in terms of my update. No complaints. Just trying to make it through until we get things thought out here and we can start to pick up the pieces a little bit.
That was one of the first experiences I had with this storm, Winter Storm Uri, was driving to a friend's birthday party on Sunday, and it was still very early, so one could think the roads weren't terrible. So I'm driving to a birthday party, and that morning I walked out the door. I walked out the door on Sunday morning and just fell right on my butt. Like, not even like I'm just kind of slipping and falling. I walk out the door Sunday morning and it's right on my butt. And then I get in my car to drive this birthday. It's her birthday, Valentine's Day, everything going on. And then before I could even get past 3rd Street, my car just spins into a ditch. There's a telephone pole and a stop sign, and I landed right in between the telephone pole and the stop sign. I mean, 1.5 feet away. One of those where it's meticulous to the point where you're like, all right, I know I'm going to crash. How do I sit when the car hits the telephone pole? By the grace of God, I was in the ditch deep enough that it dug my tires in and I didn't hit the pole, and my car could back itself out. But I haven't driven since. I mean, it's been that kind of ugly in the city of Waco for folks. And I think they reported 55 wrecks on Sunday alone on Valentine's Day. And, restaurants are opening back up right now, and grocery stores to, until 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And that won't change. It will not get above freezing again today, and it's cloudy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see with all these flights tomorrow. Actually, I'm going to go to my cousin's wedding, and so we'll see if the roads are even remotely drivable tomorrow. I'm becoming less and less optimistic as the day draws on. But I mean, hallelujah, you're okay. I did not know about that story, but I'm so glad to hear you're okay. That would have been terrifying, and obviously all the wrecks and all the craziness that's going on in Waco. Very glad to hear that you're okay.
Yeah, it's been an unbelievable week, and it's usually all right. Back into the sports world, it's usually Thursday here on Uptempo, otherwise known as Thursday. Some call it Jersey, but it's Robes Day Thursday today, just because the city of Waco has put an ordinance out saying don't do your laundry, saying don't do your anything that has a lot of water, no baths, no showers. They've asked citizens of Waco to sponge bathe at this point. And so here we are rocking with the ropes. It's about all I'm looking around my room today, and I am out of laundry. There are 0 clothes left. So we're just trying to pick the best we can.
You look good. Yeah, I mean, if people watch yesterday's show, they'll see I'm wearing actually the exact same thing. So I'm glad to hear that we're both sticking with the ordinance from the city of Waco. We're going to be a smelly city here in a minute if we don't shower. It's not going to be good.
Look, we're going to look back on this a year from now and be like, freaking, do you remember that show, the remote shows, when Waco was a foot under ice and snow, and you were sick and had to go to a buddy's house without power and internet, and we still killed it. We thought, hey, find a way.
Finding a way, man. Finding a way. It's unbelievable. It really, I mean, this is like a once-in-a-generation pandemic with a once-in-a-lifetime snowstorm in Waco. Like, we're living inside of history right now.
Here's what I want to do, all right? You ready for this? I want to read some of these off for you, and this is insane. Men's golf, Baylor men's golf at the All-American Intercollegiate in Humble, Texas, postponed. Softball versus Missouri State, canceled. Softball at number 9, Louisiana, canceled. Softball, Missouri State, canceled. Softball, number 9, Louisiana, canceled. Men's basketball at 13, West Virginia, postponed. Men's golf, All-American Collegiate, postponed. Men's golf, All-American Intercollegiate, postponed. Softball versus UT Arlington, postponed. Women's basketball, West Virginia, postponed. Men's basketball, 13 West Virginia in Waco, postponed. Equestrian versus Fresno State in Burleson, postponed. Softball, Northwestern State. Softball, Missouri. Baseball, Jacksonville State. All 3 of those canceled. Men's basketball, Oklahoma State, postponed. Equestrian, Oklahoma State, postponed. Softball, Prairie View A&M canceled. Baseball, Jacksonville State canceled. Women's tennis at Washington State, still happening. Softball semifinal canceled. And then on Sunday, softball at either the Constellation or the Championship, that has been canceled as well. Baseball against Jacksonville State canceled. And then some other things still up in the air right there. I couldn't count on both my hands how many cancellations and postponements there were in that stretch. But dating back to Sunday, a bunch of Baylor teams are supposed to start playing or play, and it just didn't happen.
That was like a novel. That was unbelievable how many things have been canceled. Good to hear that we're still playing at Washington State. That's good news. But, I mean, that is unbelievable. There's so many teams not playing. And I wonder how some of these teams are going to deal with those cancellations from softball and baseball. Are some of those – I guess those are canceled that won't be made up, I'm assuming.
You know, there's a lot of canceled stuff right now that is not ever going to happen again because of this storm that we're missing out on the baseball, softball side. That hurts. Baseball is going to play Jacksonville State. And Jacksonville State would have been it would have been their home opener, their season opening series. Everybody's excited for baseball to be back. I mean, Andy Thomas is a stud. You've got a whole roster of guys top to bottom with the depth now, the youth and the senior group that's going to lead that team. Excited for the home opener. Excited for the opener of the season. Nothing. There are softball teams in this country that have played close to 10 games now. 10 games now. And Baylor softball is yet to kick their season off after last weekend's tournament was postponed. They would have played at the very least 3 top 25 games already. Baylor softball is missing out on, if I could put a number on it, I would say 8, maybe 9 games that Baylor softball will not see, period, now due to this winter weather phenomenon. Not even COVID. COVID's been canceling stuff everywhere. But right now, it's snow and ice that have kept anything from happening.
And you wonder how will that hurt them at the end of the season when tallying up the points for the final rankings? Like, how much will that come into play when it comes to their seeding for the tournament? 10 games is a lot to miss. I hope we're looking at a situation where Baylor basketball is similar, like right to figure out what have to forfeit games, will they able to play all their games. Like, this has just created an entire mess. And so shout out to Mac Rhodes for being able to take all this on his shoulders and be the greatest athletic director in the country and kind of shuffle the deck here. But this is absolute madness. So I hope this is going to come back to bite them.
Not only that, did you see where Mac Rhodes passed out food to the folks at the bank, the athletes at the bank? You know, one thing I didn't realize with this whole storm is that folks cannot get to food. If you live on campus as a student or you're a student athlete, then where do you get your food? How do you go to the dining halls? There's a foot of snow outside. How are you supposed to? Mac Rhodes said we'll find a way.
Yeah, that is. I mean, credit to him. I think him and Vic Valoria were going door to door, literally, and passing out food to these student athletes. Like, what a guy! The entire athletic department he doesn't have to do that. Like, that's not on his prerequisites for taking this job. But credit to him for being a man of the people, a man of the athletes, making sure those guys get fed. I was talking to my brother, who's a freshman, I think in Martin. And he's saying like, "Hey, it's a 40-minute wait just to get food outside of Penland, and even then, the food is sort of sparse what they're able to serve." So it is very much like the Revenant outside.
Wow. That's one of the things, too, that I think is going to keep Baylor closed for an extended period is the fact that there are 4 residence halls that I know of. This is not confirmed, but 4 residence halls that are battling with water damage. Pipes are bursting on campus, too. I mean, you've got flooding across Baylor's actual campus in different residence halls and buildings. So how do you pick those pieces up, you know? And you can't get people to come out and help you and clean this up. There are no plumbers that are like, yeah, no, be there in 10. That's not a thing right now.
And how long is it going to take when they finally can get over there? Like, burst pipes, I imagine, aren't like a one-day fix. I mean, I know nothing about fixing pipes, but I'm assuming that the amount of damage that's been done to these different residence halls, houses near campus, houses on campus, like, this is going to take some time to reassemble.
It's really unbelievable to me that this starts as a snow week. Okay, we're going to have a fun, like, play in the snow, throw some snowballs, and everybody's excited because school's canceled. And now it's become a legitimate state of emergency and something that's hurt a lot of people this winter storm that's come through. It's burst pipes, flooded houses, turn the power off, electricity off, no internet. Folks have been misplaced. Like I said, we had 4 people taking asylum in the house yesterday just because where else are you going to go? You know, there are so few places to go. And in the middle of a pandemic. Just wow. Can't say enough about the resiliency of the people of Texas, people of Waco, and for those that are watching out there that are still finding a way to, hey, I'm going to turn up tempo on. I know some things are going really wrong right now, but I still want my sports take. And I hate that we've been a little bit down so far on the show, but hey, we got a lot to break down today in sports. We're going to break down the men's football schedule, contrary to the women's football schedule. Just wanted to be very clear with that. Baylor baseball postponed this weekend, canceled this weekend against Jacksonville State. The softball team will not play in the Getterman Classic. They had a game moved on this past Wednesday as well against UT Arlington. Obviously, they didn't get to play against Missouri State and Louisiana in their openers last weekend. We'll talk a little bit more about that and how that may hurt this program moving forward. Like you said, they lose. If I had to estimate, they probably would have played 4 or 5 games against ranked opponents in that stretch. Even if they go 4-1, 3-2, heck, 2-3, you still get that feather in your cap. Okay, we know who we can beat, how we can beat them, what we need to do, and there will be a lot of rust for that program as they try to kick things off next week. Baseball, it looks like the home opener is going to be against UT Rio Grande Valley. That'll occur next Monday. For softball, we're looking at all the way to next Friday against UConn in Waco at 3:30, and then against Ole Miss at 6 p.m. So that'll be the way the season opens for the softball gals. A doubleheader, 3:30 against UConn. After the Connecticut game, it'll be Ole Miss that Baylor will face on next Saturday. And not only that, Baylor volleyball opens up. That was next Friday, I'm sorry. Baylor volleyball opens up that day as well. You know, volleyball moving to the spring schedule that next day, next Saturday. So here's some good news for you folks. Everything's canceled this weekend. But the good news for you folks is next Saturday, you got men's basketball at Kansas, tracks in the Big 12 Indoor Championships, equestrians at TCU, who they've already beaten. Women's basketball's got Kansas State. Baseball facing 23rd ranked Auburn in the Round Rock Classic, baby. Softball's got Lamar. They've got Connecticut. Soccer comes back. They've got a spring schedule against Texas A&M. Acro and tumbling #1 in the country against Mary Hardin Baylor. That's all just next Saturday, JD. That right there is going to be a heck of a slate that we get to cover, and that's going to bring Baylor sports back in a big way.
And a lot of these games getting postponed and canceled earlier in the season, but they're hitting the ground running. I know baseball is supposed to have State, maybe some other opponents that were going to sort of ease them into the Round Rock Classic, but apparently not so. So we're going to see how that looks for them as they try and get the gears going a little quicker than some of the other teams who've already played a series or two under their belt. So I think that's going to tell us a lot about this team right off the bat. But I'm glad they're going to be able to get 12 play and hit the ground running.
That is baseball's got UT Rio Grande Valley on Monday. And then their next game after the one tune-up against UT Rio Grande Valley, they're playing Texas A&M on Friday, the Round Rock Classic in Round Rock, Texas. And then again, softball is going to open their season against UConn and Ole Miss. Ole Miss, an SEC team that under Mike White was really good. Mike White's not there anymore. It's up in the air how good Ole Miss is going to be this year, but it's an SEC program and a Power 5 program, and so softball will have to open up. This country that have played 10 or 12 softball games when Baylor's playing number 1, just because of cancellations that, again, are not COVID-related at all. It is the weather that has kept this team from playing, and men's basketball was supposed to play today against West Virginia. Obviously, that has been postponed. They had it scheduled to play at West Virginia this past Monday. That game was postponed. They had the game against West Virginia again today. That has been postponed. And then really they were supposed to kick their season back off against Oklahoma State this Saturday in Waco. That was the first game they could play because of COVID. That was postponed because of the weather, though, not because of COVID. The basketball team will get a couple more days to warm up, get ready to start their season slate, and they will be back in action next week on Tuesday in Waco at 7 p.m. against Iowa State. All right, I'm Drake Toll. J.D. Pickell is somewhere in the lobby or the waiting room or something. He keeps popping in and out. His service connection is not great at the House of Refuge of which he's at right now, but that's all right. He'll be back here in just a second. Armstrong, can you hear me? Armstrong, are you there today? I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot here.
I am here today, yes.
Out of the void he arises. I just wanted to let you know that I want to tell the good folks at home about some Top Golf stuff going on.
Sounds good.
All right, bye-bye, Armstrong.
Bye-bye.
I love it. Armstrong's producing the show today from a remote location as well. He's alive and out there. He's not Deshaun Watson for this show. He's carrying through with us the whole time, and we're glad to have him. Thank you, Armstrong. And JD will be back with us in a second. Again, I'm Drake Toll, JD Pickell. Armstrong Sims is somewhere out there. This is Up Tempo. Tee it up at McLean Stadium this winter as Top Golf Live takes over Waco. Top Golf Live brings the Top Golf experience to iconic stadiums around the country and will be held at McLean Stadium February 25th through February 28th. Join us for a once-in-a-lifetime experience as you take Top Golf swings from the concourse of McLean Stadium. In addition to offering friendly competition, Top Golf Live transforms this iconic venue to create a truly unique event. Create memories with your friends, family, or coworkers this March when you choose the Top Golf Live Stadium Tour for your private parties or events. Special safety protocols will be implemented throughout the event to ensure Top Golf Live offers a healthy and safe environment to players. Top Golf Live tickets are on sale now at www.topgolflive.com. Book your tee times today as tickets are limited for this once-in-a-lifetime in-stadium golf experience. Premium packages are available as well. For more information on premium packages or to purchase your tickets today, please visit www.topgolflive.com or call 214-501-1320.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to SicEm365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Car has the trucks, man, they have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man, he has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
All right, welcome back to the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den, or what is left of it. More over my room as we are having the show live remote again today, and just trying to do the best we can to fit in this new normal with not a pandemic, but today a snowstorm, and proving that, hey, listen, if it happens again, come after us. I'm a man. I'm 20. Up Tempo's going live no matter what, rain or shine. We're going to rock it. You've got Scotty B, the Baylor King, says, hey, I found out that Texas women's tennis, their matches against Rice and number 20 UCF have been canceled. They might reschedule later on this season, but Texas' next opponent is Baylor in Waco on March 6th. March 6th. That's a long time from now at 1 p.m. And Scotty also says, let's not forget women's tennis against Tyler Junior College in Waco on Thursday. A lot of sports going on in Waco next week. I'm telling you, man, the resurgence, it comes back, and it comes back in full swing.
Yeah, I mean, I like the intro you had into this, out of this break. Say, come after me, I'm a man. I'm 20. I'm 24. It's a very popular belief. I'm actually not yet 40. But yeah, man, how about Waco just taking it on the chin and moving forward? I mean, everyone, yeah, sure. It's like from what's the movie? Kicking and Screaming. I got punched by Mike Ditka. I got punched by Snowstorm Yuri. I wobbled a little bit, but I did not go down.
I watched that movie last night. No kidding. No kidding. What a small world. I watched that with Ditka and Will Ferrell, and I thought Mike Myers is the ref. We found out he's not. But it's a good movie. It's a great movie. Very quotable.
Had you seen it before, or was that the first time?
I had seen it when I was a lot younger. I have seen it all the way through before, but this is the first time I watched it and was like, oh, yeah, I know exactly what's going on. And
yeah.
It was funny. A lot of stuff you probably can't do today, but it was funny.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's Will Ferrell right before Step Brothers, like Will Ferrell in his prime. In my mind, I loved it. I love that movie.
Yeah, that is Will Ferrell. SNL Will Ferrell is what that is. Today, though, here's what I want to do. We're going to break down some SicEm Pick'em action in a little bit. Before that, though, Baylor football schedule released just last week, where we found out, all right, here is what's going down next season. Game number 1, Texas State in San Marcos. Baylor has a couple of tune-up games. I think we can safely call them tune-up games. Jordan Fierbacher yesterday said, hey, maybe they're not exactly tune-up games because he was on the team that lost to UTSA and that lost to UTSA and Liberty. So he says, hey, no game really is a tune-up game. If you think about it, anything can happen. But next year, you got Texas State on the road in San Marcos, a game that's a must-win. Texas Southern at home, a must-win. And then Kansas in Lawrence, also must-win. Baylor's first 3 games coming against effectively FCS opponents. I mean, I know it's a stretch. That's a lot to say right there. But those 3 games should be very easily winnable for the Baylor football team next season. Going into Iowa State, they are a top 5 team right now. Oklahoma State on the road, they'll be a sneaky top 25 team. West Virginia at home, they'll be pretty solid. They got a lot of guys coming back. That's a tough 3-game stretch. Then you hit BYU on October 16th before a bye week. Again, and this is just me. Maybe this is something that I'm completely off base with, but I am much more scared of BYU in week 2 than I am of BYU on October 16th. I don't think Baylor will have a problem with the Cougars in their 7th game of the season. They get a bye week, come back home against Texas, TCU on the road at Amon G. Carter, Oklahoma at McLean Stadium, Kansas State on the road, and then Texas Tech at home in McLean Stadium, not in Dallas, for the last game of the season. That's the Baylor football schedule next season. And J.D. Pickell is going to hop back in here in a second and help break things down. We're going to take about 10, 15 minutes and just talk about this, walk through this before the SicEm Pick'em. JD, when you see Texas State, Texas Southern, and then Kansas on the road, even though it's on the road, 2 of the first 3 are on the road, actually. Again, that opener is very odd to me at Bobcat Stadium in San Marcos, Texas. But if I got you here, if you can hear me, are those 3 games to start the season, would you agree that those are must-win for Baylor? Well, JD, I think you're making a good point. I can hear you through my little prompter over here, but I don't know if the folks at home exactly got your audio through. But that's what we're battling today. I think we got you for a second again right there, but it's cutting in and out here and there with the connectivity that you got, which is completely understandable with what you're battling right now, being in a house that's not even your own home. Trying to mooch some Wi-Fi and get power. And so here, let's see. I think we may have you now. Talk to me.
Let's see. I think I made the snowstorm mad saying come after me, man. I'm 24, so I won't do that anymore, I guess. But I was just saying you absolutely better not lose any of those 3 games. Otherwise, you have quite a bit of answers to give to your fans who will be understandably very upset if you lose any of those games. Like, those are games you should win. Your new quarterback, whoever he is, get them comfortable. Heck, even if you need those 3 games to decide who your quarterback is, because those are must-win games. Those are games that you honestly those are should-win games. Going forward, I like the way the schedule's set up. I think you made a great point about BYU being a little later in the season as opposed to fresh. I think that's going to be crucial to allow this Baylor team to kind of get their legs up and under them. And I was doing the math here, Drake. I'm not great at math, but I'm seeing 8 or 9 wins here. I think Iowa State is going to be a tough one. I mean, you get it at home. It's still a tough game against one of the best teams, if not the best team in the Big 12 this year. You got Oklahoma State. I think they should win that game in Oklahoma State. It's a tough one on the road in Stillwater, but this is a team that Saturday veranda, you should have your feet under you at that point. You should have your quarterback. Whoever it is, you should have enough firepower to beat Oklahoma State. They just rolled over for them past season.
Is that the staple? Is that the statement win for Dave Aranda at Baylor or for Baylor next season?
I think it is. I think it is. I think it's that. I think it's Oklahoma State and West Virginia are going to be the 2 that you need to win before BYU. Big conference games that you should get under your belt right off the bat. I see those 2 being the swing games, and if they can get those 2 under their belt, I think that makes Texas and TCU a lot more.
I think right there it'd be if we lost JD again. I think what it would be is if Baylor wins at Texas State, as they should, Texas Southern Kansas 3-0. I would say you have to chalk up right now with a loss. There's no two ways around that. Brock Purdy coming back, Brees Hall coming back. That's going to be one of the best teams, not just in the Big 12 in the country. At Oklahoma State, West Virginia, BYU. You need to win 2 out of 3 of those games. I don't think it's asking too much whatsoever. I think it's going to be West Virginia at home and BYU at home as well. Baylor does play better at McLean Stadium. You need to win 2 out of 3 of those games. And if you do that, though, you're 5-2, and Baylor could even be 6-1 coming into a bye week. You're 6-1, number 19 in the country, bye week. You get that week off. You're probably going to bump up to 17 just after the happenings in college football that week, and then you get Texas. But are we asking too much? Is that setting a way too high of an expectation for Baylor to go 6-1 in that stretch? Because it's quite possible that Baylor wins their first 3 games. They should, period. And then loses 4 straight. That's not out of the question. If things go like they did last season, Baylor wins their first 3, loses to Iowa State. That's expected. On the road at Boone Pickens. That's expected. West Virginia is going to be solid. Won't be that crazy. At that point, Baylor's 3-3. BYU, who knows where they are. If you lose that one, you drop to 3-4 going into your bye week. You're picking up your lumps. Who's to say that's not more likely than Baylor going 6-1, 5-2? I see you. But I don't know if I can hear you. You're kind of frozen. You look good, though. A little bit of scruff going on right there. I just want to tell you, I want to say I can tell you're growing it out a little bit. Oh, try me now.
Let's see, check.
I can see your mouth moving. I don't know if your computer
We got nothing for him.
Armstrong. What? Where did you come from?
I was just letting you know that JD's connection is trash. Oh, here we go. We got him again.
Yeah. Oh, all 3 of the boys are back together. JD, can you hear me?
Oh, my God.
I can hear my phone. Armstrong, did you have any comments on the football schedule?
Not that I can think of. Let me try to help JD out here.
Yeah. You guys keep working on that. I'll keep running down through here because I would say, and my own being my subjective opinion, that I think we got you. We got you.
Beautiful. I just had to rotate I tried a different corner of this room. We'll see if that lends us any favors. But you were making some great points. I had you in my ear the whole time. You were saying a lot of good stuff. So I don't know if I have too much else to add, but I am really excited for Texas in Waco. Like, we're going to see where both teams are at that point, see if Texas is actually back with Casey Thompson, Bjorn Robinson. I mean, they've got some weapons. We're going to see if those 2 Heisman trophies that Sark is bringing over are going to pay dividends or not. I think the swing games for me that I have circled are Oklahoma State and West Virginia. Iowa State's going to be a tough one after your tune-ups. I think they'll be undefeated. That'll be a highly anticipated game, obviously, in Waco. Hopefully there's fans. Hopefully there's a crowd. But all things considered, I really have OSU and West Virginia circled before BYU. We're going to learn a lot about our team at that point. And honestly, if Baylor, like I said, if they want to take those first 3 games to figure out who their quarterback is, by all means do that, because those are basically JV scrimmages. I want to see the best quarterback playing in the game against Iowa State. I want to have it figured out by then.
Okay, so kind of the question that I posed, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Is it more likely that Baylor finds themselves at 6-1, maybe 5-2 going into the bye week, or is it just as likely they'll find themselves at 3-4 off of 4 straight losses?
I think 6-1 is. See, I'm probably the opposite here, and I know we've kind of gone back and forth on this during our post game. I think 6-1 is more likely. I don't see them necessarily losing 4 games before the bye week. I think they, like I said, I think they win those first 3. I think you find yourself in a tough game against Iowa State. I think you beat Oklahoma State. I think if you were able to split Oklahoma State and West Virginia, you're in good shape. I think if I had to put down money, I'd say they'd win both those games and then find themselves in a good spot before the bye week.
What if Baylor doesn't have a quarterback by then? Would you be surprised?
I'd be very surprised. I think at that point you're almost chalking it up to, okay, we gotta rebuild. We gotta rebuild quick. At that point, you're playing more so for a bowl berth as opposed to a Big 12 title, because I think honestly a Big 12 title is sort of up in the air for a lot of things that, I mean, it's not what anyone should expect with this coming season with Oklahoma and Iowa State, I think, being the lead dogs. But given a COVID year, given all the transfers, you're going to see a lot of these programs have brand spanking new teams. With Oklahoma losing Charleston Rambo, losing Bookie Radley-Hiles. Iowa State is going to be relatively the same, but TCU has had guys transfer out. There's a lot of movement going on within the portal. So we're going to see a lot of new rosters. So I don't know that continuity will be necessarily the differentiating factor. So all that's to say, Baylor has a lot to play for this coming season. 8-9 wins puts you in good shape come December to be talking about some pretty exciting bowl games, if not in the race for the Big 12 title.
I think it could be very possible that you walk into a season where Oklahoma ends up being a 3-loss team, where Texas ends up being a 3 or 4-loss team this season under first-year head coach Steve Sarkisian. TCU ends up being a 6-loss team. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if TCU goes 6-6. They've been really struggling right now under Gary Patterson. Kansas State, we saw their demise last season. They looked really good to start and then just dropped off the absolute face of the earth. I don't like Texas Tech next year. Kansas is Kansas. I think, who knows? Oklahoma State could sneak up. West Virginia could sneak up and go to a Big 12 championship game. And I think you're right. Baylor's got an outside chance to do the same thing. I think they'll be probably ranked 6th in the preseason poll in the Big 12, somewhere around there. I'd be surprised if they're not in that 5 to 7 range. But outside looking in of this schedule, I think Baylor at 4-3, Baylor at 5-2 is a pretty good look after your first 7 in the bye week. But then you get Texas at home, and I don't know what Texas is going to look like next season. What can their identity be under Steve Sarkisian year 1?
So Texas actually makes me more than they are in previous years. What I saw from Casey Thompson in the bowl game, Bijan Robinson in the bowl game, those are both 2 special young players they have on their roster. Steve Sarkisian knows how to call an offense. He knows how to have – I mean, we make fun of him with all of the accolades they claim from Twitter, all the things that Alabama did, the way they ride their coattails. But, I mean, bottom line, Steve Sarkisian is a good offensive football mind. So if they can catch some stride under all the talent they have at Texas, that's been the problem, right? Texas, year after year, we say it, great recruiting class, great facilities. They get basically whoever they want in the state of Texas when it comes to recruiting. Like, they should be just fine offensively, and year after year they can't put it together. So if they can put it together under Steve Sarkisian, they make me actually more nervous than anybody else in the Big 12. I think Iowa State is good, but we don't know what they're going to do. You all think whenever a player like a Brock Purdy comes back for their senior season, I just can't get out of my mind the Matt Barkley syndrome. They kind of have a fall off because they have such a big target on their back. So I'm same thing with Oklahoma. They scare me, but not as much as Texas with what they could be with the potential of Casey Thompson, Bijan Robinson with that offensive backfield. So I think Texas really could be the most dangerous player in the Big 12 for Baylor outside of Iowa State and Oklahoma. I'm not quite as worried as them as I am about what they're going on.
Spencer Rattler, man, it's tough to beat. And Breece Hall at running back, I get it. I think Matt Barkley syndrome for Brock Purdy is not out of the question, but Breece Hall is one of the best backs in the country. And I think he will be a Heisman contender next season. I like Breece Hall a lot. So I watch out for them. I think you go in that Texas game and maybe you lose that Texas game, but then you're circling TCU, Adamon G. Carter, and Fort Worth. Is that then the next must-win on the schedule? Is that where Dave Aranda just confirms to the world, hey, especially after TCU beat up Baylor and Waco, right. Dave Aranda here, college football, wake up?
I think you hit it on the head. Like a rivalry game on the road. Disrespect to Baylor last year in Waco. Like, you better come to play Texas, TCU. Like, because Baylor fans have an agenda with some of the other programs more than others. Like, we don't like Kansas State, but not as much as we don't like Texas. We don't like Oklahoma State, but not as much as we don't like TCU. Like TCU, you better show up in a big way in TCU, especially on the road. That could definitely be the program-defining statement win for Dave Aranda. And at that point in the season, could change all the momentum. Before you go into Oklahoma, before you go at Kansas State, like that could definitely be a swing game to catapult them into a positive postseason.
Outside of that, so Texas, TCU, then Oklahoma. Say Oklahoma's a loss at home too. Maybe that is – there is a situation in which Baylor – it's not out of the question from a pessimist view. I don't think this is a realist view, but a pessimist view that Baylor loses to Iowa State, at Oklahoma State, West Virginia, BYU. That those could all 4 be losses. That's a real thing. Texas could be a loss. TCU on the road could be a loss. Oklahoma in McLean could be a loss. 7 losses, 7 straight losses. I don't think it'll happen, but it's not impossible. It's a pessimist view. But then I'll get your thoughts on the Oklahoma game in a second. At Kansas State, Texas Tech at home, Do you have to win both of those games against teams that are likely going to be bottom dwellers in this conference?
I think you absolutely have to. I think you absolutely have to at least win one of those games. And if they end up not winning one of those games, if they find themselves in that position where they've dropped 7 games, that just tells me you don't have the right guy at quarterback, which is confusing because there's so much talent in that quarterback room, top to bottom. You have so much talent with the young Kyron Drones, Blake Shapen. We talk about it seems like week after week. There is enough firepower on that offense to win games. And we've already seen that defense is absolutely phenomenal when it wants to be. So if they've lost 7 games, I think it falls squarely on the shoulders of Dave Aranda and this new staff. I mean, we've talked about it ad nauseum this offseason, is all the all-star hires they've brought in with Grimes, Mateo, Stuckey. So if they can't put it together, it falls on nobody else besides the coaching staff.
Then the Oklahoma game. Looking at that one in Waco, Spencer Rattler and company, I'm assuming they come in probably – I wouldn't be surprised if they're a 2-loss team, maybe falling to Texas and slipping up to Iowa State. I think they fall to Iowa State, then probably slip up to somebody else. Maybe that looks like a Kansas State or a West Virginia. Maybe that ends up being a reality for Oklahoma, but they beat Texas. They just seem like that team more often than not. But say Oklahoma comes in, 2-loss team, still in the top 15, top 20. Baylor comes in, a 2 or 3-loss team. That becomes a big game in Waco. But what do you give? Do you give Baylor a chance to win that?
Yeah, see, I know I'm sort of the optimist, but I really do. And it all falls on who's playing quarterback, right? If there's a similar situation to last year to where nobody on the offense is on the same page from quarterback to offensive line to receivers, but if Baylor wants to put it together and even have, let's say, a 20 to 30% improvement. Let's just say they have 20 to 30% improvement on production. So they're running the ball decently. They have a quarterback who can put it in the guy's hands to go make plays. Tyquan Thornton's healthy. If things are even remotely in place with what Baylor has talent-wise on offense, they absolutely have a shot to win this game. Because, I mean, we saw last year the defense kept them in this game for the most part last year. I mean, Baylor was abysmal offensively a year ago, and the defense allowed them to stay in this game. Now, does Spencer Rattler take that next step to being Heisman-caliber quarterback? We'll see. If he does, Baylor's going to have to really bring it on defense. But all things considered, if they can just have an improvement from a year ago offensively, they're in this game 100%. I think they have a real strong chance. I think it also depends on how many wins they have, because we saw against Oklahoma State, Baylor was down bad end of the year, and they just sort of rolled over. And so that was sort of the way that it happened. Obviously, a tough COVID year, tough to account for, but all things considered, Baylor has a very strong chance to make this game extremely competitive. And hey, I mean, depending on where they're sitting on the flip side, if they've won a lot of games at that point and Baylor's sitting at, 1 or 2 losses, looking at college game day coming away.
Maybe so. I think if Baylor's at 1 loss and OU's at 1 loss, it's very possible. I don't see either of those teams being undefeated necessarily coming into that game. But, hey, crazier things have happened. All right, here's what we got. SicEm Pick'em today. You know, before I get to that, I want to ask you one last question about the schedule. If you had to tell me today what you think, being a realist, what Baylor's record is going to be next year, what would you say?
I think being a realist, I have Kansas win. So at that point, they're 3-0, assuming they win those first 2 games. Probably lose to Iowa State. Let's say they split Oklahoma State and West Virginia.
Okay.
So at that point, you are 5-2, 6-2. Let's say you beat BYU. Texas is a tough game. Let's say that they win that one. Let's say they're 7-2. Beat TCU 8-2. I think it'll be tough to beat Oklahoma and Texas in the same year. So whether they beat Texas or beat Oklahoma, let's say they're 8-3. Beat Kansas State. Maybe drop to Texas Tech. I have to do some homework, but I would say 8-4 is not a bad year. 8-4, 9-3 is a very realistic year.
I like 8-4. Maybe not exactly like that. I don't know about. I think the Texas Tech loss would be a stretch. But I like 8-4. I like 7-5 or 8-4 for sure. I think Baylor, Dave Aranda, Baylor, they need to win 7 games next season. It would make things a lot more comfortable. They're already comfortable, but when Dave Aranda proves, okay, as a Power 5 head coach, I can win 7 games in a season, go to a bowl game, win or lose that bowl game. Just the fact that Baylor shows, okay, hey, we're not going to be down and out for too long after a 2-win season. They think they'll be just fine. So I agree. I think 8 wins is not out of the question. I like the 7-5, 8-4 spectrum right there for Baylor next season. All right,
and that sort of puts them on the Matt Rule plan a little bit, does it not? It sort of puts them on the Matt Rule trajectory. Hey, we'll be off of my first year, be a 7-8 win bowl game, and then the year after. I'm just saying, that kind of puts them on a pretty promising track record that we saw a couple years ago in Waco.
Puts them even better than the Matt Rule track, if you will.
Yeah, no, I would be very excited about that. And the fact that he had to retool his staff after the first year would make it more impressive to me.
All right, SicEm Pick'em today. Here we go. Jumped out to me just number one on this flipping list today. South Carolina Upstate Presbyterian. I know everybody out there is like, what are you talking about? Presbyterian beat South Carolina Upstate by 10 yesterday. By 10, all right? And today, they're only favored by, guess what? 2.5. South Carolina Upstate sucks in game 2 of their series this season. I love at Presbyterian at home over South Carolina State. Lock that in. That's a 4 o'clock game, too.
I like Houston at Wichita State. Houston minus 7.5. Houston, one of the best teams in the country against the spread. One of the best teams in the American against the spread as well in conference games. Obviously, Wichita State being a conference game. It's at Wichita State, which is tough. Houston had their last game postponed against East Carolina. But, again, I'm putting my faith back in Houston. They regained it after we picked them. Again, after their loss to Tulane. But I'm riding with Houston with that one. I'm locking that one in. Houston minus 7.5 on the road.
Hate to correct you, it was ECU. And the only reason I'm going to correct you is because I'll never forget that as long as I live. Houston just biting me in the absolute butt, losing to ECU this season. Wichita State has not been impressive at all. They won at UCF by 1, beat Temple at home by 3, Tulane by 8, not good teams. UCF by 5 in overtime at home, not good. They lost to Memphis by 20 on the road. I love the Houston minus 7.5 pick. I think they still want vengeance after the ECU loss. Good pick. Good pick.
Hey, thanks.
What else you got?
You know what? I love Ohio State. The Buckeyes on the road at Penn State. Ohio State minus 4.5. Very realistic line. Ohio State's one of the best teams in the country. They're great. Again, what I'm looking at here is conference games against the spread. Ohio State is one of the best in the Big Ten, if not the best in the Big Ten against the spread in conference games. I like that. I'm going to lock that up. I'm also looking at Rutgers and Michigan. Michigan at home minus 9. They should slaughter Rutgers. It should not be 9. It's close to 15. I like that a lot. I'm locking both of those up.
It feels like a scary good night. You know, it feels like scary good with these lines that are out there tonight. I like your Ohio State Penn State pick a lot. I think Ohio State on a money line at the very least would be super safe. I say super. It's on the road, yes, but I think Ohio State's maybe the hottest team in the nation right now, just because Gonzaga has not been playing very tough competition. So how can you call them necessarily hot? Baylor hasn't been playing, period. Michigan's just now back. Ohio State has been awesome. I've liked them a lot. I think it's a really good pick, Ohio State, a money line at Penn State. I'm looking at BYU and Pacific tonight at Pacific. BYU has they just toe-to-toe with Gonzaga. They only lost that game by 11. They won by 45 at Portland. They beat Pacific at home in double overtime. But I think tonight BYU's got vengeance. Minus 5.5 against Pacific gives you pretty safe numbers right there to take BYU tonight. Love the Houston pick. Want to tell you this right here. If you want a money line upset tonight, number 11 Iowa at number 21 Wisconsin. Luka Garza and the Hawkeyes. Wisconsin has lost now 3 out of the last 5. There are only 2 wins in that span are at Nebraska, who's very bad at basketball, and against Penn State at home, who, again, they're also very bad at basketball. Iowa's now won 2 straight blowouts against Michigan State, and Rutgers, the Michigan State game, was on the road. I love Iowa tonight on the money line.
I'm with you, actually. I was going to speak.
I think we got you breaking up here. Folks at home, I can hear JD right now. I can hear JD through a little monitor over here, but I know you guys are struggling to hear him with his connectivity. We're getting back in here in a second. But he was just breaking down a couple of the games across the country where I think he said had – JD, what was it again? I can hear you a little bit out of the side of my ear. What was that one game you were just picking up?
LMU. 5.5 is stealing.
LMU plus 5.5. That's what you're saying? Okay, LMU. Yeah, LMU has won 3 straight. They beat Pacific. They beat Portland on the road by 25. They won at SCU. San Francisco's dropped 3 straight. I don't trust them whatsoever. I think that's a good pick. I like that pick a lot. In Loyola Marymount, 5-3 in conference. San Francisco 4-6 in conference. I think Loyola Marymount may even have a money line win tonight. I don't know if I go that far because I don't know enough about the teams, but I think it's a good pick. Radford and Gardner-Webb, stay away from that because I made my mistake yesterday and did not stay away from it. Campbell and Hampton, you would think that this would be an easy win for Campbell against Hampton, but I don't know. That's a little bit scary too. A couple more on here that I liked in the later slate. One of those being, a couple of things going on in the Pac-12 today. And I know that's going to be a topic of interest. UCLA at home against Arizona. I like UCLA -2 or a UCLA money line tonight. Winthrop at High Point. I like Winthrop -10 as well. Southern Utah, 6.5 point favorites against Sacramento State. I like Southern Utah on that. I picked against Sacramento State a couple of times this season. It hasn't bitten me yet. Sacramento State not great against the spread. You got Cal at Washington State. Idaho at Portland State. I'm always taking whoever's playing Idaho. Idaho's 0-17 overall this season. They are 5-12 against the spread. Portland State 5-5 against the spread. I like Portland State a lot in this one because Idaho's just been bad this season. Give me Portland State with a big win in that one, more than 11.5. I take them. Again, JD, I think tonight's a good night. Tonight's a good night to win some Monopoly money. I think we lost you. Again. I can hear you through the monitor here. Let's see. One more time. Try me again.
In Oregon, Colorado, probably going to touch it. Are we back?
We're back.
There we go. We're back. I had nothing more to add, man. I'm with you. I think Weber State is interesting as well. They've been good against the spread. Take whoever's playing Idaho. Whoever's playing Idaho, house on them. Get yourself a new car.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Longwood too, -3 tonight against Charleston Southern. Charleston Southern's 1-13 in conference play. Longwood's 8-9. Yeah, it's a road game, but I think Longwood -8 or -3 tonight is good. Hey, this could be a big night, man. I feel good about this SicEm Pick'em today. It's going to be, What do you got?
I was saying Belmont is unbelievable. One overall, -12 that against Jacksonville State. One of the spread. Sorry, I cut you off. Just to add to that,
Belmont at home, but Jacksonville State has won their last 4, all by double digits. Mark that down. Note that. But those last 2 games they won have been at home. They're not bad. I think that Belmont spread at 12 is tough. But I think in the end, they eke that out. I think it's close. It's a 4-point game at halftime. Then Belmont ends up winning it by 10, 12. I would say probably 12, 14. I think that's pretty safe, a decently safe bet. All right, 1 or 2 more in here. Anything else you got before we get out? That's it for you. Gonzaga, St. Mary's. Gonzaga -20.5. That's a tough one for me. Gonzaga is a cover machine this season. I say that. Wow, I didn't realize that they're not a cover machine this season. They're 9-9 against the spread, 9-2 against the spread this year. They played once when they played last time. Gonzaga won by 14. I don't know. That 20.5 is tough. I've liked St. Mary's. They've been a pretty good program, so I don't know. It's a tough one for me, but I think you can just stay away from it in general. But that's a SicEm Pick'em today. We'll go ahead and put out some picks later on in the afternoon too on Twitter via the Uptempo social media account or our own personal accounts. But anyway, here's what we got. There are power outages, internet outages across the country. JD's dealing with that right now. He's at a friend's house. Armstrong's at a friend's house. Those guys are mooching Wi-Fi. So what we're going to do is we got a lot of stuff to pick up, clean up, and get set and ready to rock as we try to pull this show together moving forward for tomorrow and next week and battle through a lot that's going on locally weather-wise. What we got coming up next is the best of up-tempo, and a lot of things that we've covered over the last couple of weeks that have been highlights of the show and things that we've done here that have really solidified who we are as a program. And so that, again, the SicEm Pick'em, breaking down the Baylor football schedule, then talking weather locally. But I'm Drake Toll. Armstrong Sims is again somewhere out in the void. J.D. Pickell joined us as well throughout the show today. Here's some really good, the moments that define up-tempo coming up after this break. This is up-tempo.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Don Humidor, you're home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I am Drake Toll, Tori Wiley, Clara Lincecum in studio today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
So, resident sorority girls.
Yep.
Tori is an AKIO. Clary is a Theta. All right?
Yep.
But what makes them particularly special is the fact that both of them are tour guides.
Yep.
So today is Tour Guide Tuesday, where we take two of Baylor's very finest and bring them through the ringer. You have 20 questions today that are all Baylor-centric. I will give you a hint as well. 10 of these questions were featured like 3 weeks ago in the show.
I watched.
Yeah.
Wait.
So like,
I did not watch.
You did not watch?
That's my bad.
Yeah. Well, you should get them though. This is so you guys are tour guides. Walk me through though, Clara. I'll start with you.
Okay.
there's some kind of like gold star standard, or what is another tour guide of yours got one the other day.
Green stars.
Oh, excuse me. There is a green star standard. Walk me through what exactly that is.
Okay, so basically, if like a family tells your supervisor that they had just had the best tour of their life, or if they like email it and put your name in it, then you get a green star on your name tag, and then everyone's just jealous of you for the rest of your career. And both Tori and I have never gotten one.
How tough is it? Mm-hmm.
I will say,
Do say it.
You know, they really got to go the extra mile to speak to the supervisor. So even if they tell you, like, that was the best tour
You got to
I've
say,
ever had.
please tell my supervisor.
Really? Do you say that? Is there any coaxing in there?
I have not. I've not done that.
Do you write down your supervisor's email?
That would be a good move.
We don't want to embarrass ourselves. We want to earn the green star.
Do you ask for tips?
Oh my gosh! Actually, okay.
Oh my
Claire,
gosh!
you
Wait,
got it.
can I tell a story?
Yeah, tell a story.
Okay, so last week I was supposed to give this tour, and then I don't know if it's okay that I'm telling this. I was supposed to give this tour, and then I couldn't give it because the person that was driving my tour couldn't drive, so we had to switch.
Right.
And then they got the family I was supposed to give a tour to, and then they went and gave that tour on another cart, if this makes sense. And
I'm putting it together in my
And then
brain.
they got tipped $200.
You get tipped? You actually get tipped?
No, we don't. This never happened.
$200, and it was the tour I was supposed to drive. I was supposed to give it, and then I didn't get it, and then I think about it all the time.
Did they split it with you?
No, it wasn't even. I was just like,
can you legally?
I mean, I guess.
Oh, that's a question you just don't ask.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it never happens, but that was like insane.
The one time that
but it was
did.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they were meant to have the $200.
Wow. So Clara, walk me through too, on a personal scale. I have been hearing something. I'm a big Spotify guy. That's an argument today on the show. Is what are people listening to music through? Mm-hmm. I'm a big Spotify guy, and I keep coming on top of this thing called Clarification, one of the top 50 podcasts in the country. And as I understand, that is your personal podcast, Clarification.
It is not real.
Oh, so that's not you.
No, that's a little awkward.
Is that in the works though?
Me and my friend Bryn are starting one.
Is it called Clarification?
No, because that would make it just about me, since my name's Clara. So that was my personal podcast.
Is there a problem with that? Is that not?
Yeah, that'd be a little selfish.
Oh, okay. Is it a two-person podcast?
It's a two-person podcast. But if I had a podcast alone, it'd be called Clarifications.
But Torifications, that's in the works.
That has a really nice ring to it.
Okay, so today I have brought you both here to play the ever elusive. This is like this. I will put like 4 or 5 minutes on the clock because this is extensive. It is a 20-question quiz. There is a bonus question at the end. It's not even very special. It's just kind of a bonus question. It's just there.
Do you have a green star?
Yes. If either of you have green stars by the end of it, you should both get green stars for being on the show today. The publicity. If you out there, tell me too. I have heard of students that are getting tours as current Baylor students. They'll just like send and register for a tour and take it as a current student. Is that a thing that happens?
No.
I mean, it's really right now, especially because of COVID, it's supposed to be only seniors and transfers.
Really?
So we're prioritizing
But
them.
typically, I guess if you didn't get one, maybe. But right now with COVID, it's not. Like, not even juniors in high school can get one.
Yeah, it's much more selective who gets tours.
Also, Claire, we are getting a text on the Ribbon Liquor and Wine text line. Are you a good driver in your tour vehicle? Your father is asking.
Yes, I was just going to say my dad is watching.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you guys want to give any special shout-outs today on Up-Tempo?
To my dad.
Yeah,
You're
to Claire's
perfect,
dad.
and I love you.
Okay, so both of you are going to shout out Claire's dad today on Up-Tempo.
He's perfect.
Okay, do we have the music ready? All right. It is Tour Guide Tuesday. So, I love this music. Tour Guide Tuesday. Tori, I'm going to have you just kind of face a little bit that way because the questions are all right here on the screen. Some of them have their answers. Clara, you're going to kind of face that way because it's a tight, I don't know how David Smoak does this, but it's a tight window that I'm working through right now.
I won't look.
Okay, so this is Tour Guide Tuesday. Question number 1 for both of you. What are the Bears' names? There are live bears that live at Baylor University. They have names. What are they?
Easy money.
Okay, both of you feel confident in that. Question 2. Who's the world-renowned cookie maker at Mimo Dining Hall? Mimo Dining Hall. And there are bonus points for how you spell this because it's not that easy to spell. Number 3, which football coach is Baylor's all-time winningest? I know you guys probably don't give a lot of football stats on your tours, but it's a sports show, so we had to round that out in there. Which football coach You can.
No, that
You know
one.
what? Half a point if you name a football coach, though.
Okay.
Hey, that'll do it.
Wait, current?
Anything, just a football coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, in general.
Yeah. We're broad in the scope
Who
right
you?
now. That's a half a point right there.
Okay.
Given out to you. Question 4. Where does Baylor rank regarding to size amongst Baptist schools in the world?
Got him.
Where does Baylor rank?
Got that. That was from
Okay.
the last show.
That was on the last show. True. Number 5. This one's crazy. How many residence halls are there? Oh, come on. This is a great tour guide question.
This is different from residential colleges.
Right. This is residence halls. Residence hall. I'm a mom, and my son is coming to Baylor to be a doctor, and I want to know how many residence halls he has to choose from.
Okay. This is an estimate.
I will give you a hint. It is a number.
Thank you, Drake.
You're welcome. Number 6. What year was Baylor founded? Oh, easy money. This is too easy.
Money.
This one's maybe easier. What is the male to female ratio? So male to female.
Was this on the last one?
Yes, it was. This was also on the last one.
I would call that an unfair advantage.
And
You
well,
didn't-
you didn't study.
It's
so.
a fair advantage, I think.
Number 8. Who is the head football coach at Baylor University? Yeah, first or last name. Number 9. What is Judge Baylor's first name? I'm looking for initials right here. And if you listen to Walking in Waco, you know exactly what it is. Number 10. Name one.
don't know.
Name simply one of the other 2 founders of Baylor University. You get this tour every day. You got this is you got this one.
Yeah, we did.
Who is Baylor's current provost? I am a 47-year-old woman, and I am really excited to find out who Baylor's provost is. And I have just asked you, and you now have to tell me who the provost is or you're fired. That is question number 11.
I'll send in my resignation.
I will give you one hint. She's that's your only hint.
Britt.
Oh, you don't want to say that because that's gonna give it away to Tori. She's
Okay.
yeah.
I'm just gonna write that.
Yeah, that's good though. That's good. I think you may have just nailed it.
Okay.
Question 12. How many acres is Baylor University? Oh yeah. Round it to the nearest acre. Number 13. How many Baylor undergrads are there? How many undergrads? Not grads. Undergrads. Round it to the closest undergrad.
Yeah, to the closest grad, yeah.
To the closest grad.
Round it to the closest thousandth, actually. Okay. Just give me 1,000 number. Number 14. Who was the president before Linda Livingstone? Before Linda Livingstone.
Oh my gosh, I know I should know that.
I am someone who keeps up with modern. I am a 47-year-old father of 4. 3 of my kids went to Baylor, and I was a big fan of this guy until he was not.
I know.
Until I was not a fan anymore. Super famous.
The stage fright is the reason I can't remember, but I swear I know it.
She knows. You know it?
I do not.
Okay.
But either way, I don't have it on the paper.
Number 15. What happens annually on 5th Street? Uh-oh. Come on. Doesn't happen because of COVID. Yeah, I'll give you a hint. It's not Dia del Oso.
It's not.
Number 16. How many freshmen entered Baylor in 2020? How big was the 2020 freshman class? Round this to the nearest 100th. That'd be fine. So I'd say 4,500, although it's not. Question 17. How many undergrad programs are there? Round this to the nearest undergrad program.
Oh gosh.
Yep. A whole number.
No idea. You mean like
Undergrad programs. So I could get an undergrad degree. I can get a degree in journalism. I can get a degree in biology, biochem, engineer. Yeah, how many of those?
Okay. Wow. Oh gosh. I have no idea.
I am really, I was excited for this. Felt like tour guides, you guys were to kill this. What is the student to faculty ratio? Student to faculty.
That.
Oh.
Got that.
Nailed it.
Yep.
19. How many clubs are at Baylor? Oh, baby. Tour guide knowledge right here.
I can really picture where I say that fact on the tour. Over the bridge.
How many varsity sports are at Baylor?
Like Division 1?
Division 1 varsity sports.
That's on the Bear Trail.
Oh, it's on the Bear Trail. Come on. All right. And do we have the other music that we play sometimes too for the answers?
We have a bonus question.
You have a bonus question.
Yeah, Jack has a bonus question.
Jack, what is your bonus question?
So, y'all are called Bears.
Yep.
What does that stand for?
Baylor Experience Admissions Representative.
Did you know that too?
I know that.
You did?
You were?
Wow.
Last semester?
No. This was fall.
Jack was a tour guide?
Oh.
Jack was a tour guide?
Jack was a tour guide?
And you didn't know what
Get on
Bears
up here,
stood for?
Jack.
No.
Come on down.
Did you get a green star?
What?
Did you get a green star?
No.
Round to the nearest green star. How many green stars did you get, Jack?
-20.
Nice.
And before you're a bear, you're a cub. And that's when you're
And
in
we don't know what
training.
that stands for.
We don't know what cub stands for, but it's very cute.
Oh, my
We were
gosh.
Cubs for a hot second during COVID.
We really were. May I request a repeat question?
Yeah.
Will you repeat number 5?
Number 5 was how many residence halls are there?
Okay, give me a sec.
Round
just
again.
guessed.
Round it to the nearest resident hall.
Also, cub means completely untrained bear.
Wow.
You knew that?
my goodness.
Breaking news on Uptempo. All right, we're gonna hit a break. I'm gonna call my Cub guy.
he get a
You
point?
call your bear
That was
guy.
good.
Call your brother.
Completely. Oh, wow.
Call your brother. All right, you ready for 5? Okay. Question number 1. Do we have the other music that I don't like as much as that music, but I still kind of like? This is the one that I like. This is my favorite music.
Okay.
This is the 2-minute drill music.
Yeah.
This is the one that I can't. Number 1. What are the Bears' names, Tori?
Joy and Lady.
Lady and Joy.
Uh-oh.
And fun fact, they just had their birthday.
Correct.
They just turned 1920.
And their biological brother was on Dr. Doolittle.
0 bonus points. 0 bonus points. But cool facts.
Yeah, well,
cool facts.
okay.
Are you giving out bonus points at all?
Yeah, I'm not actually.
Oh,
What's the world-renowned cookie maker at Mimo?
Miss May.
Miss May.
Spell it.
M-E-I.
Oh, baby, spell it.
M-A-E.
MEI!
No.
No bonus
Was
points.
that-
All right,
So
I just wanted to make sure you
believe-
can spell it.
Oh, it's a bonus point?
No.
He's not giving you.
Baylor's all-time winningest football coach.
The 2011 Hire Simpson, in the Hire Simpson complex, the Heisman Trophy was won by this man. I don't know his name.
RG3 is not Baylor's all-time winningest football coach.
That's a lie.
Very close.
I'm lying.
Very close.
But, thank you.
Clary?
I wrote Matt Rule, but I don't know.
You know what? Half a point for Matt Rule. It is Grant Taft. Matt Rule's 9th.
I also wrote Matt Rule.
You did?
Matt Rule's
You wrote Matt Rule?
9th.
Okay, then you both
And
get a half a
David.
point.
How
You
did
both
you
get a half a
spell
point.
Rule?
You know, doesn't matter. I don't think it does.
We're not going to go there. Number 4. Where does Baylor rank amongst size in Baptist schools?
So it's the largest Baptist school?
Largest, number 1.
It is the largest.
Yeah.
How many residence halls are there?
Oh, me? 6.
Oh, I said 14.
Oh my goodness, it's 12. It is 12 residence halls.
I crossed it out.
The
12
amount of
residence halls.
residential colleges threw me off.
Yeah. Is someone keeping score?
That's
Nope.
embarrassing.
All right.
I thought you were keeping score.
I am not keeping score. I have so much stuff going on right now. I am claustrophobic, and I feel number.
So we don't know the score.
Nope.
Or you're just gonna keep going.
I'm pretty sure Tori's ahead by 1 now.
What?
So let's keep it. Tori's ahead by 1
For what?
because she just got closest.
Oh, just
I
that
just
Well,
wanted
yeah,
to was closest. Yeah.
that's
What year was Baylor founded, Clary?
1845.
Tora?
Correct,
Ah,
1845.
yeah, it is. Male to female ratio, Tora.
Okay, approximately 40% male, 60% female.
Clary?
I said the exact same thing.
40-60.
Yeah.
We're killing
It's
it.
tough
You
for us,
guys should be
ladies.
Green Star tour guides.
Thank you.
Who is the head football coach, Clara?
Aranda.
Dave Aranda.
Dave Aranda.
Dave Aranda. All right.
myself now.
I'm a big football fan. 52-year-old. It's my oldest son who's going to Baylor. I want to know who the football coach was. You guys nailed it. What's Judge Baylor's first name?
Judge.
Oh, that's close, but not.
Close.
I said Mr.
Mr. Judge Baylor. I will give you guys nothing for that, but great effort.
What is it?
R.E.B. Baylor. Won't
Oh,
you
she
look
said
down
that
over
on the
me?
last one.
Yeah. Name one of the other 2 founders of Baylor University.
Reverend Huckins, Reverend Tryon.
Tryon Huckins?
Correct.
It
Huckins and
is.
Tryon.
Tryon and Huckins. Who is Baylor's current provost?
You said Shiza, so I wrote bad thing. I don't break out.
Bad thing.
That's good. That's maybe the best moments
bad
happen.
thing.
She's a bad thing. I like that.
Brick house.
She's a brick house. Nancy Brickhouse.
Oh my gosh, that's
also
so
good.
funny.
That is good. The fact that I almost want to give you a bonus point, but I won't. It's tied. How many acres is Baylor University?
1,000.
1,000.
1,000 acres of Baylor University
Oh.
for all you and your friends to explore.
That was impressive.
How many Baylor undergrads are there?
Who got that?
Approximately 14,000 undergraduate students.
14,000?
14,000.
14,000? They're neck and neck. They're tied right now.
We should do grad.
Did they tie in the last one?
I found that backed up this
They
morning.
did tie on the last one. They did tie on the last one. Who was the president before Linda Livingstone?
I know I'm supposed to know this.
I do not know.
Don't you know you can be a shooting star? It was Ken Starr. Ken Starr.
Yep.
Legendary political figure.
I knew it.
You know what he did? He brought down Bill Clinton.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's a real fact. It's a real fact.
That's a hot
That's a
take.
big fact.
What happens annually on 5th Street?
Christmas on 5th.
Christmas on 5th.
How many freshmen entered Baylor in 2020, Clara?
First of all, the biggest ever. Don't know how many. 4,000?
4,000?
I said 3,500.
It is 3,700.
Oh.
Tori's closer.
Wow, that one hurts.
How many undergrad programs? You got engineering, journalism, all that mess.
I said 250, and I'm feeling like that's a bit of an overestimate.
Well, I did 20.
20? Somehow. You are closer. But like not by much. It was 126.
What is it?
It's 126.
I just thought of all the ones I could think of, and it was
124.
like 20.
Yep, but barely. But I think I did the math right. That's just the top of my head. Really?
What'd you say? 250?
250?
Yeah, she's closer.
Oh, Clara's close, so it's
that's about
tied.
me.
Sorry,
I need to brush up on
my
that.
ideas in mathematics class is really not helping me very much.
I was, yeah.
Shocker.
What's the student to faculty ratio?
14 to 1.
14 students to 1 faculty.
It is now changed to 15 to 1 as of the current freshman class.
Wow.
You got to tell
that on our tours.
You got to tell your supervisor.
Honestly, I'll change that.
You got to tell your supervisor.
Okay.
Number 19. How many clubs are at Baylor?
Over 360.
360.
Yep, 360 student organizations.
Oh, beautiful! You both nailed it. 360. These guys must be tour
And
guides.
if you don't like one of them, you can make your own.
Wow. Number 20. How many varsity sports are there?
19 Division I sports.
Yep, 19.
Oh my goodness! We are going into sudden death on today's Tour Guide Tuesday. I have a bonus question. Last year, us three, we were all freshmen together.
Yes.
We were.
Freshmen together.
I loved that, yeah.
No music. This is suspenseful. Do we have suspenseful music?
We don't have suspenseful
This is the final question, and whoever gets closest is the winner. This is tuition, not fees, but tuition. How much did we officially, to the nearest thousandth, pay in just tuition last year? Claire, I'm going to start with you. Actually, write it down. Write it down. You have 17 seconds to
Are
write
we talking
it down.
about personally?
We're talking, no, not personally. Yes, whoever had the lower tuition last year after financial aid wins. No. How much do students pay in tuition at Baylor University?
Without scholarship is what we're talking about.
Per year, without scholarship. This is the current tuition. Last year's tuition at Baylor University. You have 17, 16, 10,
Please don't tell me you're gonna
9, 3, 4, 1. Time. Clara.
Oh, I was going to say, I want Tori to go first.
You wrote down 60,000.
That's not
Tori
bad.
wrote down 62,000.
Okay.
Not bad.
Makes me feel better.
Without fees, the Baylor tuition is officially
whoa.
okay.
Without student.
I said without fees.
I didn't think about it.
Without housing and fees. I'm going to give you another 10 flipping seconds here
okay.
to write down your answer. 17,
I don't know how much that changes
12,
things.
8. No fees, no housing, nothing. It's strictly tuition. You're just coming to get an education. You're not eating food. You're not flying. You're just eating. You're eating tuition.
You're eating tuition.
Your
Time.
Yes.
Tori puts 44,000. Clara puts 48,000. It is 47,000. Clara is the winner of the Tour Guide Tuesday on Uptempo. I'm Drake Toll. That's Clara Linscomb. Tori Wiley joining us in studio today. Armstrong Sims, Cole Andrews, Andrew Roberts, and Jack McKenzie. When we come back, we're breaking down some more SicEm, Pick'em, rounding out with celebrity birthdays and this day in sports history. This is Uptempo.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Arturo Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Welcome back in Up Tempo, Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. I am Drake Toll, Armstrong Sims, and Cole are in today. Grace Grundafer joins at 12:30. But right now, with J.D. Pickell stepping out to take his dog to the dog park, we're joined by special guest John Capron, the head cross-country coach at Baylor University. Coach, you've been here what? It's got to be over 20 years now, whether it be a student or a coach. I mean, you're just Baylor through and through.
Yeah, I've been hanging out here a while. Been kind enough. Baylor's been kind enough to keep me around. So definitely have Baylor coming out of the veins. Not tired of the Waco scene yet. You haven't had enough Georges? No, Waco's been very kind to my family and I, and been a great place to grow up from college life all the way to young married to just being a family here in Waco. It's been awesome. So tell me, Coach, let's start there for those that don't know or maybe unfamiliar with you or your program. Really, what brought you to Baylor as a student and an athlete, I understand? Yeah, so looking at a lot of places out of high school, I grew up in the bustling metropolis of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and was just looking to really get out of the state, and really found what Baylor had just as a faith-based institution. I thought that a good environment might be a little good spot for me to continue growing up, basically, with some good environment. And I was mature enough to make that decision, I think, at a young age in high school, and it proved to be true. Wow. Well, then you obviously making home out of Baylor and being here for, like we said, now 2 decades as a Baylor Bear. Do you consider this place home? I mean, is this a destination job that you have working with the cross-country program? Truthfully, yes. I get to do things at Baylor that aren't encouraged everywhere. From a faith standpoint, it's a part of what I do, and I want that to be the case. And there's not a lot of jobs in the country where we can do it at this high of a level, both athletically and from a spiritual setting. That's huge to me. And so, again, very rare combination that I'm very happy to be a part of.
So, Coach, on the cross-country side of things, I know you guys wrapped up your schedule last fall. What you saw with your cross-country program in the fall in competition with COVID and all the really being thrown for a loop on the men's and women's side, just kind of walk me through that. What was different for you guys?
Oh, just the protocols for sure. I mean, everyone's dealing with those day in and day out. Trying to spread out my team, telling them to stay apart on their runs. I mean, lots of weird adjustments. But in the end, we weren't sure what we were going to get, how far we were into the season. I mean, we knew that, at any point, right, somebody could pull the plug and be like, all right, that was a good experiment. We're done here. And we've kind of seen that it's been a little haltering here and there with some of the other teams and whatnot. But we were blessed to be able to get most of our meets in. Only had a couple little snafus, but really what I talked about with my team was let's just get a season better. Like let's get better this year, whether we're racing and we get that opportunity, that blessing, or if we miss one or two. I just want to continue the production and the progression of my team, and we were able to do that, I think, at a really high level, actually.
When you look back at last season, too, I know there were a lot of questions with whether it be cross-country, track, or even football, basketball, about having athletes right there effectively on top of each other. You have so much close contact in those sports, and I know that was the big question. Will cross-country be able to run because of that? How did the NCAA and then your program in general address that being a concern?
We have the added bonus of, I think outside helps a lot of things. The wind blowing and all that. I don't know my physics on, droplet and particle spread and all that other stuff, but I do know that being outside helps a lot. And so we felt pretty safe. And then just the rigorous testing protocol that we were kind of subjected to, I think made us all feel pretty confident going in and out of meets. And then just even at practice, since we were all part of the same protocol, we kind of knew that as long as we kind of stayed in our little, again, overused, but bubble, these are our friends. This is what we do. We come to practice and we go to meets and these are our people. We felt pretty good about what we were doing day in and out. Pre-meets, 2 tests a week, non-meet weeks, we were testing at least once. And so kind of had a pretty good feeling about, who we were around immediately. Now, as long as we stayed in our lane, basically, we felt pretty good. But outside of that, you kind of had to depend on each other to, get to the next meet, basically.
I know you kind of touched on it, too, a little bit, Coach, with not just COVID restrictions, but team performance in the fall. And what can you say about your programs and their ability to fight through the adjustments and the new normal, overused, that really led them to compete in the fall?
Just a lot to overcome. I mean, but as long as they're putting in the work and putting in the prayer, I really think that as distance runners, it has helped a great deal for us to have a little bit more of a longitudinal approach of this, and sometimes that doesn't help the immediate of, the conference meets this weekend or whatever. But I think it's a very healthy outlook for a lot of distance runners to say, hey, this is just a piece in the process. And, we're going to get gradually better, but it's definitely a lot to overcome, when you miss a guy that's supposed to be at the meet that just, got contact traced and he's not going to be there anymore. And that's super tough. And every team has to deal with that and has dealt with that. But it's definitely helps kind of if you have the culture built in where everybody knows that, they could be called upon at any time and everybody needs to be ready to go always.
Yeah. Looking at the Big 12 championship meet for you guys with Lily and Connor and what they were able to do, and the disparity between the two, with Lily being a freshman and then Connor being a senior. I mean, what can you say about those two individual athletes and what they did in their performances at the Big 12 championship meet?
I was just super excited for them, and Lily's done amazing. Her ability to get here and just immediately take flight. Credit a lot to her. She missed out on her senior year of high school competition, and to be able to channel that into just flat out getting to work. She started her training for fall cross as soon as her track season for high school got unplugged. She said, okay, well, I don't get to do that, so get started getting after cross country for my collegiate freshman year, basically. And to have that work into her being, at the top of our leading our team was really, really impressive. And as well as they did, both of those groups could have run better, Connor and Lily. But the only reason they didn't is because they absolutely went for it. And I'm never going to, begrudge any of those athletes for doing that. And we can prepare a little bit more and expect a little bit more, but they were real close to running just exceptionally. They ran well, but they were real close to running very, very well. And so we'll keep building back up and make sure we support that and go for next time for sure.
Coach, kind of moving over into the crossover between track and cross country. We talked to Aaliyah Miller on the show I guess it's been a week or two ago, and she had mentioned how she herself had run cross country at one point. Really, how much athlete sharing is there between cross country and track? And then obviously you're connected with both programs. What does that look like for you?
It means a lot to me, but it means most for my athletes because most of my cross athletes will compete both in indoor and outdoor seasons. So you talk about off seasons with a lot of sports, and my cross and track athletes don't have one. Their summers are busy preparing for cross and usually running 60, 70, 80 miles a week over the summers. And then cross country starts in August. We go through November. January starts track season, and that goes until June, and then the cycle repeats. So my athletes kind of have to circle some dates on their calendar, say, hey, I'm going to go after these meets, and this is going to be where my emphasis is. But they're running at a pretty high level, pretty much 10 months out of the year. And so you get an athlete like Aaliyah, if she can help your program, we'll borrow her whenever we can. But she has big goals and big dreams to do with the track, and so cross country is sort of a build component for her, and we kind of borrow her for our meets whenever it fits into her training most often. I do have I don't know if she's agreed to this, but I'm going to borrow her next fall if she doesn't run really, really fast this spring track. So it's kind of a conditional agreement. I don't think we've shaken hands on it, but she's going to help my cross country team again if she doesn't reach the times that she's kind of slotted out for herself.
Wow. With that, you said over the summer, 60 to 80 miles a week, and that these athletes train effectively year-round with cross country and track. Is this, with them being off, not being with the team or the program, how do you handle that as a coach over the last year where your athletes are displaced, but they've got to train or the success of the team's in jeopardy?
Technology's helped out a lot with that. We like everybody, we were on a lot of Zoom calls. I also have, if they're interested, they can send me their workouts and I can get GPS data on them. I have training logs that have heart rate data. I have a lot of things that I can do to keep tabs on my athletes when they want to be good. I can check in on them pretty easily. And the best ones do that. They ask me, hey, coach, did you see this workout? What do you think? How can I improve here? Is this mileage enough for this week? Do I need to back off? How can I do this safely? And so there's been a lot of things that I can do, a lot of back and forth, texting over the phone, commenting in the training logs that they're keeping. A lot of ways for us to do that, but a lot of it comes down to just them wanting to be good, and they're wanting their teams to be good and putting in the work.
For you, Coach, as someone who's worked with the track program and the cross country program, how much crossover is there for you? You talked about athletes working around the clock. Do you feel like you're in that same boat with cross country in the fall and then primarily track in the spring?
Yeah, similar to their schedules, we're kind of year-round too as far as the coaching is concerned. So I don't have to put in 68 miles a week for sure, which is great because that'd be tough these days. But we are kind of full go kind of all the time. There's some ebbs and flows for sure, but we're kind of in season most of the time. And so again, it's that constant readiness, I think, that does ask a lot of my athletes and kind of myself, but we manage, and I think we've done a great job of kind of staying ready and making sure the right people are ready at the right times.
For you as a coach too, is there something about cross country season that just means more? Is that your baby individually, or do you get that same rush whether you're indoor track, outdoor track, or cross country?
Well, I love cross because it is a little bit my thing, right? Like I don't have as many coaches helping me with that, right? The track is a little bit more when all the coaching staff kind of comes together, but Coach Harbor definitely oversees a lot of that and makes sure that we have what we need and that we're being able to compete at the highest level that we're able. But again, yeah, my name's definitely on that one for sure. And again, my team, it's kind of where the distance crew can kind of rally together and say, all right, this one's going to be ours. So like we're wearing this one, and what do we want that to look like at the end of the day? And then immediately after cross is over, we switch to track and say, all right, how can we contribute to make track even better? And the fun part is we got a great track team that we can be a part of. And, if we can contribute at whatever level, we're going to do great because track's always performing at a really high level. So it's nice to both have your own thing and then to be able to contribute as well.
Kind of backtracking to you and your career at Baylor as an athlete and now as a coach, Todd Harbor. Obviously, his footprint is all over the track program as he's been here for so many years and one of three head track coaches in the history of the Baylor program. You got the opportunity to run track at BU with Coach Harbor, I understand, and now being a coach under him, alongside him, with him. What is that like? What is your relationship with Coach Harbor?
It's great. I mean, it's been just outstanding as an athlete. And someone that could kind of walk me through things, and him having the experience of running at the highest level, so just be like, hey, this is how you have to do it, and be like, oh, okay, well, let me see if I can do that workout, which never really went that well, actually. Workouts that he was able to say, hey, this is how you do it, and I would be like, I don't know if I'm hitting that one, Coach. I don't know if I have the 350 mile in my legs today. So that's always been fun to just, hear stories, and he'll be like, oh yeah, when I was talking to Steve, I'm like, Steve who? And he's like, Steve Scott. And I'm like, oh, Steve to you. He's got, people that were, big time people that he speaks to on the first name basis. That's always blown me away. But no, it's been great. And just the grow up process, again, from athlete to coach, and just having him to be able to consult with. And we laugh because, Coach Hart to Coach Harbor to myself, we'll throw workouts out there, and having not talked to either of us, none of us has spoken, and ended up on Monday or Tuesday, we're doing the same thing with our athletic group or whatever, our group that we're training individually. And just because that pass down of knowledge that has happened, and say, oh yeah, well, you did 200s today. That makes sense. Why wouldn't we do 200s today? So it's neat to have that commonality and just growth process throughout the whole program, I guess.
Coach, we've talked to Casey Lightfoot and Coach Harbor on the show about the Olympics and what it means to represent the country as an Olympian. And you've been around, seen your fair share of athletes come through Baylor and go on to eventually perform in the Olympics. Well, from a coach's standpoint, when you flip on the TV for the Summer Olympics and see an athlete that competing for the United States of America, what is that feeling like?
Oh, that's one of the best things ever. I mean, that's the goal for, I think, all coaches, right? I mean, we love the small stories that maybe don't make the news, but the ones that make the news are pretty awesome to see and be part of, and at whatever level. And as a graduate assistant or whoever I was, when Jeremy was running fast, I mean, to be like, oh, I got that guy no money. Awesome. I wasn't coaching him necessarily, but I was getting his splits and making sure that there were a couple of practices where Coach Hart was gone or something that I was helping out. Or back to Jeremy, I trained with him some. He was on the team with me. So, whether it's Jeremy or Will now, or, hopefully KC, pretty soon here, just to know that they've done it the right way. They've put in the work, and that Baylor's had a part in developing that is just awesome to see, and just know that, yeah, we're doing things pretty well here. And, our system, our program develops really, really good talent to the highest of levels. And that, I think it says to other athletes that are here, like, the system works. The people who work here that are they know what they're doing basically. And so it's lovely to be able to be a part of that and just say, hey, things work around here. We have a great environment and a great platform for a lot of you to get better and to improve over time.
Along with that and your program with cross country, I know it bounced around a little bit here. You talked about that recruits itself. The fact that Olympians are wearing USA across their chest and are Baylor Bears. For your program, when it comes to bringing in athletes with cross country and your outlook on the next few years, how close are you, do you feel like, to a Big 12 championship on the men's or women's side in cross country?
On the ladies' side, I'd say we're a lot closer. Just the way that the money stacks out across both sports, basically between the men and the women. There's a little bit more aid to deal with on the ladies' side, and so I think we get a few more girls stacked in here. I think competition-wise, it's going to get better rather quickly, actually, and I'm really excited about that. Even as soon as next year with some of the freshman girls that I have coming in. On the guys' side, it's always going to be a little harder with the less scholarship aid, basically, and the money just doesn't spread out as far. But I've got a really good working group of guys, and a couple of them I think are going to figure out how to stay here another year or two with some of the extra eligibility that's sort of sliding around, with Connor and hopefully Ryan staying through grad school. That's going to give me a great little senior class contingent that hopefully can do some work for us going forward. But I hope to be fighting, on the conference side, on the ladies' side, within a year or two in that top 3 or 4. The Big 12 is kind of a monster of a conference, and there's a ton of distance power, basically, with Oklahoma State and Iowa State putting a ton of money into that. And then Texas is always going to be good. And so we've got our hands full. But I expect to be a lot more competitive rather quickly, actually.
I love it. And before we give you the old Bear Games questions of the day, have you had any conversations with Casey Lightfoot about slipping over and running cross country for you?
Every time he asks where he brings, where he puts his pole, it's not really welcome on the cross country course. And he likes to do things in 40-meter increments, and that's not as unless there's a big puddle or something, maybe we could use him to help us get over or something. But no, there's people I try to borrow from track all the time. Casey hasn't made my short list. So he's athletically talented enough, he could probably do it. But I don't think he has any interest in adding his mileage up to where it needs to be able to be relative in an 8K.
I love it. How about, Coach, before we let anybody, our guests or our callers, before we let them go, we always play Bear Games on this show, and typically they're just a little takeaway from your day usually not even sports related. But today, I got to ask you, when you're listening to music, are you using Pandora or Spotify, Apple? What do you got?
Oh, man. I kind of use them all, truthfully. I've got Pandora going sometimes when we're out on the track. Good old Amazon, is in the kitchen. Just started Spotify. I haven't figured out how to turn on the clean lyrics on Spotify yet, so it hasn't gone well at my house. It's gone away quickly. I have to work on my allowances on the Spotify thing.
Outside of that, too, we currently have man of many trades there with all the throwing out Pandora, too. Wow. Outside of that, we're doing a Big 12 mascot madness where we take mascots and make them real life animals or human, whatever it may be, put them in a cage, battle to the death. Today, it is a Wildcat and a Cyclone. If they have become real life, who's winning in that cage fight?
You got to give it to the Wildcat, I think.
Wow. On top of a tornado.
Yeah.
Is there a why there? There's got to be some kind of explanation.
Well, I mean, they got claws. They can kind of hunker down and just wait for it to go by, and then they're good.
Wow. I like this. I like that.
Yeah.
That's probably the best explanation for a Wildcat we've been given today. Wildcat is currently leading Cyclone on the Impact Health Labs gas stand caller line. Outside of that, this one's tough. A Sooner or a Red Raider?
I'd have to give it to the Raider, I think.
Yeah. 6 shooters.
Heavily armed. They got both pistols, yeah?
Yep. Both pistols. Got the horse, too. The Sooners just wearing his little bonnet. I don't know. I'm with it. I think the Red Raider's the one to go with here.
I think, yeah. More armed.
I love it. Coach, thanks so much for joining us today. Love hearing from you and learn a little bit more about you and your program. And best of luck as this track season continues.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. Again, Coach Caven with the Baylor track and field and cross country programs, head coach of Baylor cross country. And he's been here 2 decades now as an athlete and a coach. That is just a theme when it comes to Baylor coaches right now. I am Drake Toll, Armstrong, Sims, Cole, and Grayson Gruendafer are here with us. Speaking of Grayson Gruendafer, he joins the show up next to talk Baylor recruiting. This is Up Tempo.
MP Electric has developed a quality-oriented electrical contracting service in more than 20 years in the industry. Led by President Mark Perry, our electricians go through a 5-year apprenticeship program, are licensed by the state of Texas, and getting continuous education annually upon renewal. In great part, the success of MP Electric lies with its management and professional expertise of its employees. All of our employees share a dedication to quality and commitment to serving the needs of our customers. For new construction and remodels, parking lot, lighting and surge protection, landscape lights, security lights, troubleshooting and repairs. For industrial manufacturing, food and beverage, paper and publishing, heavy industry, cement and rock crushing plants, water distribution plants, and utilities. For 20 years, MP Electric has serviced industrial, commercial, and residential products. We do service right. MP Electric Inc. at 1890 Galaxy Road, Waco. MPElectricUSA.com.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
station was started by three of the biggest media moguls in Waco not too long ago, paired with a company that does a lot of online stuff. And then they found myself, a 20-year-old, random 20-year-old, and then JD, who's 36, and then a bunch of other guys. And they said, hey, do you guys want to do a radio show? Maybe it'll work out. And here we are 4 weeks later on Up Tempo.
Yep. That's sweet, dude. I worked back in the day, a long time ago. I worked in Austin, Texas. This was in the early 90s. When Peter Gardere was the quarterback of the Texas Longhorns. So we used to come up to Baylor all the time, and I'd make my way through Waco up to Dallas and stuff. So I know that area pretty well. I miss it. You guys look good.
Floyd Casey Stadium, baby. Yeah, the Blonde Boys Power Hour going on up here on Up Tempo, bringing it on the Friday, too. So, Vic, here's where I want to start, man. You obviously, you've been in sports media a long time. Where did the inspiration come from that you one day said, you know what, I'm going to ask a long question?
Well, because you know how it is. You've been in this business for a while. You'll see that every time there's a group setting for an interview, there's always that one reporter that has to ask a real nuanced question, and the rest of us are always sitting there going, all right, man, come on. I mean, we only have like 10 minutes with this athlete or coach. Can we please get on with it? And it's always been funny. You go back to the radio station or the TV station, you listen to the sound, and oh, great, here's this one. So it just dawned on me one day. I've asked every question under the sun to every athlete and coach known. I'm sick of asking a typical question. So one day I decided I'm going to go as long as I possibly can. And I didn't have anything ready. I just said, I'm just going to keep talking and see how long this poor guy, Darian Stewart, was the subject. He was my victim that day. I'm going to see how long he's going to go with this. And he went a good, what was it, a minute 13?
Minute 13.
Minute 13.
Yeah. So that was it. My quest was to go as long as I possibly could to break a minute. And it's like trying to hold your breath underwater, right? You're down there, and then you're feeling strong at the beginning. First 20 seconds of that question, I felt strong. Then I started to waver at about the 40-second mark. And then you get to a minute, man, and you're just like, I don't know if I have anything left in the tank. And I got through those last 13 seconds with the grace of God.
You went the distance. And we are all better for it. Sure. On a personal level, someone in sports media, Drake and I, starting out in sports media, more or less starting out. What is your story into your profession that you are finding yourself now in?
Well, it's changed a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, listen, when I first started, there weren't many opportunities because it was pretty standard. You either get a television job locally or you get a radio job locally. There weren't all these other opportunities. The internet didn't exist. You didn't have digital media. So I think today, it's such a wonderful opportunity for young folks who want to get into this because you have avenues. Man, you can make a name for yourself on your own with your own cell phone. You don't need the help of a TV network or a TV station. It is somewhat cumbersome because there are too many options today, but I wish I had this at the ready when I was getting into it because there weren't many doors to open back then.
So tell me, Vic, when you asked that question, and you said you've asked almost every question under the sun, and you've heard, I'm sure, every question asked. When you asked that specific question, what was the reaction of the media members around you? Because it seems like everybody is decently annoyed.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I'd be annoyed if they weren't annoyed. I would be angry if they were not angry. They should be angry. They should have been annoyed by that because it was a complete, I took up their time, but there's a reason I did it. I did that for a reason. And I've got a pretty good relationship with most of the media here in town. So I think they understood where I was going. So they may have been annoyed for that day, but after the fact, I think they understood where I was with that. Yeah, that's it. I would never try that. Like in a new market, if I just showed up and I said, here I am, I'm going to do something stupid, you would never do that unless you know people around you. And I've been here long enough to do it.
I was going to say, was there any follow-up conversations from some of your counterparts after that interview? Like, hey, Vic, you feeling all right? Or, hey, Vic, don't ever do that again. I need to get my bite.
Yeah, there were a couple of people who came up to me and said, what, did you do that on purpose? I go, of course I did that on purpose. Do you think I'm that idiot? Yeah, I mean, there was follow-up questions there, but you have to understand, back in the day when you can interview an athlete in person, pre-COVID, right, before you could do the Zoom thing, there were like 4 or 5 interviews going on at the same time all over the field. So I only affected a certain amount of people. I didn't affect the entire group. I mean, I was ready to pay the price. Didn't bother me.
Tell me too, since I've gotten to Baylor and been around press conferences and kind of the same thing where you've got 2 or 3 players around the room and everybody's sticking their microphone or their camera in their face and they're asking questions. And there's always that one guy that asks 6 questions in one and it takes up about 45 seconds. And the coach or the player has zero idea which question to answer. They usually just pick one and it's a yes or a no. I get that you're making a point, but can you explain for those that are still curious, what exactly is that point?
No point at all. I guess my point was just to see how long I could ask a question. I wasn't trying to set an example or anything like that. That was just out of pure frivolity for my own entertainment pleasure. I had no point at all. I just, I have a TV show I do here in town, and it's a weekly show, and I like to do things a little differently. I don't want to do the standard stuff, the standard Q&A. That was my point, to put something on the air that was different, I guess.
Sounds a lot like us, Vic, if you will.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to that minute 13, right, do you ever get the itch to say, hey, man, I could go minute 15. I could go a minute 20.
Dude, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. It's not about asking the question. It's about getting an interview subject that is tolerant enough and patient enough to let you go. I mean, I could go, man. I can go 5 minutes if you want. But that person is this guy, think about it. Darian Stewart, one of the nicest human beings ever. Former Broncos safety. He was on that Super Bowl 50 championship team. To this day, every time I speak to him, talk to him, he talks about that interview because he couldn't believe how long. But you have to get someone who's nice. If you got, can you imagine trying that with a jerk? Can you imagine trying that with somebody who's short-tempered? I mean, it wouldn't even be funny. You have to find somebody who would tolerate you.
Coach K.
Yeah, asking that to Coach K as a student media member may not go.
I think you'd die. You'd be dead or alive.
No.
You would be dead. You would be dead. So for you, and you talked about like doing things a little bit different. So we at Up Tempo are in a market in Waco where we want to really just broaden the scope of sports media and make it something new and just crazy. A little bit out there. What are the keys to doing that? How do you make content that's just a little bit different that people fall in love with and keep coming back for?
Well, it has to be content like, if you think something is funny, right, or if you think something is standard, or you don't like the way things are done and you want to do it your way, you throw it out there. And if people say, "Oh, that's pretty good. I can relate to that," then it worked. But if nobody can relate to it and everybody's like, "What the hell did I just see?" then it's just silly and stupid. So obviously, I did something you could relate to, right?
Right.
When you do creative content, when you put creative content together, you're going to have a lot of hits and a lot of misses. And you just got to find that niche. You got to find what works and what doesn't. That's all it is. It's like everyone's sense of humor. Not everybody's sense of humor is the same. All right. I could do something that I'm just belly roll laughing over, and I think it's the greatest thing. And some other dude or gal looks at it and says, "That is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life." It depends, man. You got to take your shot. If you don't take your shot, you got no chance.
Yeah, those are very familiar sound bites you're giving me. That was stupid. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
We've earned our fair share of that.
Do you know how many times in my career, I'm 51 years old. I've been in this for a good 25, 26 years. Do you know how many times I've been told, yeah, that doesn't work. That's dumb. Or
over under 7.
Oh, I mean, 7. Try 70. It's just part of the deal, man. Again, if you're not willing to take chances, you're never going to get to where you hope to go. You have to take chances. Not everything has to be vanilla. Let the people that do vanilla handle the vanilla. You be you.
Vanilla makers. Those are the ones you got to watch out for.
So if not vanilla, then what other flavor, Vic? I love vanilla.
Neapolitan?
Yeah, I'm a mixture. I like to, if you have to be serious, you're serious. I've done my share of serious stories, obviously, but if it calls for humor, it calls for humor. You got to understand, I did that. This was training camp, Broncos training camp. I can't remember what year it was. And it was the dog days. We'd been there 2-3 weeks asking the same damn questions. How much more can you glean from these football players? And it was time. It was time to go the distance. And that's why I did it then.
And so let me ask you this question then. What % of it in your decision-making with like, hey, this is creative content is, hey, I think this is funny. I don't really care what anybody else thinks versus, oh, this is going to blow up. What's the process there and what's the give and take?
That's a great question. A lot of it is my circle of people that I work with. Like at that time, my photographer, maybe my editor. I'll talk to a couple of my friends among us, and I throw it off them. Hey, I'm going to do something today. What do you think? And if I get an eye roll or that's the dumbest thing you've ever heard, I may not engage. But if I get laughter or, yeah, I dare you to try that, then I'll do it. So a lot of it is, you're hanging out with your pals, and what do you think about this idea? And you throw it at them. I had the idea. I mentioned it to a couple people, and we went with it. So that's everything in life, guys. I mean, it's not just television. It's everything you do, everything. I mean, you don't have to have total approval. You're doing this radio show. Every word out of your mouth, you're not getting approval for every word. You're going with the flow. And on something like this, you sort of get a feeling of what works and what doesn't. And I had the feeling that it would work. I guess it did. I don't know.
So then along with that, with whether it worked or didn't work, the question of Darian, what was the response after that, not just from other members of the media, but from the public? Did you find that video caught traction quick?
Yeah, I got some people in the public saying, boy, that was cringeworthy. It was hard. Like my own family would watch and they'd have to look away because they felt so sorry for the interview subject. They felt sorry for Darian. So, and then you got other people that were just laughing the entire time. Like I said, I mean, it's not like I'm stabbing him or something. It's not like I'm hitting him with a bat. I'm just asking a question. Just answer the question. My favorite part of it is at the very end when he says, so what's the question?
That's so awesome. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you this as well. The last name, Lombardi. The first name, Vic. Very close to Vince, if you were to say it quick enough. How much has that helped you, and how much conversation has that created, having that last name?
Yeah, a lot, actually. When I was still first looking for work as a young kid, as a matter of fact, I sent a tape up to Green Bay, Wisconsin, as a local sportscaster. It's a God's honest truth, and I almost got the job. I was going to work for a TV station in Wisconsin, in Green Bay, that was located on Lombardi Avenue. So that would have been weird. But no, it did. Listen, my name's my name. Has nothing to do with Vince Lombardi, no relation whatsoever. My parents are right off the boat, but I've educated myself on the history of Vince Lombardi just in case I need to lie.
I don't even have a
We
boat.
did introduce you on the show as the son of Vince Lombardi, and I can guarantee you that a large portion
I'm
of people.
not that old, dude.
51. You're spring chicken.
Right. Vince just started late. That's how it goes sometimes. Yeah. How about this? And before we let you go, for anybody in sports media or just in general, it's getting into this game. What's your nugget that you give to everybody when they say, hey, Vic, you've asked the longest question of all time. Take that, Olympians. What's your advice?
My advice for any youngster that wants to get in, ask questions, be proactive, provide content. I listen, we have a lot of young people that work at our network now, and I say the same thing to them. If this is what you want to do, be prepared to work for virtually nothing for a long time to get to where you want to go. You have to love it that much. I go back and I look at some of my first jobs, and it was pathetic how much I got paid. But I never considered it work, right? It was never work to me. This was love. This was my career. This was my life. So if you love it that much and you're willing to stick with it, go there. But you have to be proactive. You can't be shy and sheepish. Sheepish and lazy isn't going to get you anywhere, especially this business.
Wow, yeah, I'm good after that.
Yeah.
How do we get a blue check?
Find me a brick wall. Find me a brick wall and a blue check. All right, Vic, before we let you go, too, we've got Bear Games. So we play on this show every day. Every caller, every guest is subject to just the weirdest questions that we can find. Today's, I got two of them, and I wasn't going to give you the first one, but I am now just because I no holds bar.
No holds bar.
Auburn and Baylor play tomorrow in a decently big basketball game. Baylor's okay at basketball this season. You got to give me a score prediction, Vic, if you were going to bet the house on this one tomorrow.
God, I watched Baylor against Kansas earlier this season. That's a great question. I'll go 86-72 Baylor.
I like the high score. I think the over hits on this one for sure. And then
we know what the over is.
Oh yeah. I think both teams like to score. Baylor's averaging almost 90 points per game. Auburn will run it up to 95 if they want to on most teams in the SEC. Vic, and then if you could be in one cartoon from the 90s or the early 2000s, which one are you in?
From the 90s or early 2000s? God, that's not my wheelhouse. my cartoon era was the 70s and 80s, but I'll go back to the 90s. Let me think. What cartoons? God, I used to watch my kids' cartoons. I'll say Dora the Explorer.
Ooh.
Wow.
Because he's always in his bag. No, I'm talking about backpack.
That's vanilla, man. Jeez, that's terrible.
I know, Vic. I was really excited about that answer, and you hit me with Dora the Explorer.
I like Dora the Explorer.
My bad.
All good, Vic. Thanks so much for joining us today, breaking down your longest question of all time. You are the second Olympian to come on our show, but we're honored to have you.
Hey, keep doing what you're doing, boys. Proud of you, man. Appreciate having me on. Thanks.
Thanks, Vic.
Absolutely. Thanks, Vic. All right, folks. We're going to hit a break here with Armstrong's Minute. When we come back, we're going to do a little SicEm Pick'em, a real quick SicEm Pick'em, and then we are playing
MP Electric has developed a quality-oriented electrical contracting service in more than 20 years in the industry. Led by President Mark Perry, our electricians go through a 5-year apprenticeship program, are licensed by the state of Texas, and getting continuous education annually upon renewal. In great part, the success of MP Electric lies with its management and professional expertise of its employees. All of our employees share a dedication to quality and commitment to serving the needs of our customers. For new construction and remodels, parking lot, lighting and surge protection, landscape lights, security lights, troubleshooting, and repairs. For industrial manufacturing, food and beverage, paper and publishing, heavy industry, cement and rock crushing plants, water distribution plants, and utilities. For 20 years, MP Electric has serviced industrial, commercial, and residential products. We do service right. MP Electric Inc. at 1890 Galaxy Road, Waco. MPElectricUSA.com.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio. Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio. Here's Drake Toll.
All right, welcome back into the Penny Clinic Low T studio. I am Drake Toll alongside J.D. Pickell, Armstrong, Sims, Zach, and Isaac in studio today. And we are joined now by a very special guest. Some in the law industry know him as Dana McClendon, but we more commonly know him as the crazy hot Matrix guy. And that's how we've got to refer to him. Crazy hot Matrix guy, thanks for coming on the show today.
Glad to be here, man. What's up?
Oh my goodness. There's so many places that I want to start with my dating life and my career, but I'll start here. Knowing that you revolutionized the dating industry, what has it been, five or so years ago now?
6.5.
6.5 years ago.
Who's counting really though?
July 21st, 2014.
To know that you revolutionized the dating game, is there just something about that for you that's so, I guess, just do you feel like you've accomplished something?
I changed the world.
Yeah. It goes Christopher Columbus, Sir Isaac Newton, Crazy Hot Matrix guy.
Crazy hot Matrix guy.
Dan McClendon.
Oh my goodness. So walk us through too. As you said 46 years, JD brought up the point that your one criteria for building this matrix was the fact that you've been on the earth for 46 years.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. When did it dawn on you that I need to share this knowledge with the world?
So my sons are about you guys' age. My sons are 24 and 21. And one day I just realized that, man, I knew stuff that I needed to pass on and that you guys shouldn't have to learn the hard way. So.
And how has their success been since you've educated them in the world?
Neither of them has made a giant mistake. I'll take a little bit of credit for that. So
absolutely.
Now, what went into for you the Crazy Hot Matrix when you thought about what's the criteria that we're going to put into what this chart looks like?
Okay, so I've been a divorce lawyer since 1993. I've also done criminal defense work since 1993, and I've been married since 1992. So I've learned a little bit about what doesn't work. And the actual origin of the Matrix was a guy came in to see me, and he was having to hire me for like the third time for some little misdemeanor stuff. And I looked at him and I said, hey, man, do you know why this keeps happening to you? And he shrugged and he goes, man, I guess I'm just unlucky. And I was like, no, that's not it. I go, what do all these events have in common? He's like, me? I go, well, yeah, but girls, women, you keep picking the wrong ones. And he goes, you think? And I literally just was like, I got to show this guy where he's wrong, right? Like, so I just started sketching this thing and it just sort of happened. And then over time, I would show it to other people. And there were a couple of revisions to it before it was published. But one of them was the Tiffany part. I was showing it to a guy one time and I got to the danger zone part and he pointed hard at it and he thumped his finger on it and he goes, and Tiffany's are in the danger zone. And I go, that's funny, cause like he was serious, but I realized that like the comedic effect of putting a girl's name in there was that, first of all of us know a crazy ass Tiffany. So that was easy. And then second of all, it was like that name just was a placeholder. Her name could be Susan, but if I gave you a placeholder, then the bit was that much better. And then the part at the end about, but wait a minute, man, I met this girl. She's like, that actually happened. And so that's where that part of the bit came.
So those are like some really real credentials, like having worked.
Yeah, it's all drawn on experience. Yeah, it's all drawn from real life.
Like there's jokes in it, but it's all very much real, like evidence based.
Yeah, well, that's why it went hyper viral, right?
Yeah.
Like because people see that it's funny, but they also see how accurate there are. I mean, like, it's the quintessential boy girl relationship bit. And we all struggle and we all try to find our way through it. And we all try to find someone that can put up with our nonsense just as well as we can put up with theirs. And so.
And how long did it take to become viral? Like, did it take off pretty quick or was this like 2 years later you check it?
No, man. So the guy that's in the video with me is a good friend of mine and it was his channel and he had like 250,000 followers, but they're all like gun guys and cops and soldiers and stuff, preppers and stuff. So I figured his average video at the time probably reached 10,000 views eventually, something like that. So I figured it'd be 5,000 people that were, kind of inside, the clubhouse kind of thing. Man, within a couple of weeks, I was getting phone calls because it went from 50,000 to 100,000 to 500,000, like I couldn't even keep up. And by now it's hundreds of millions.
So what, and we kind of asked around to people around us, Crazy Hot Matrix guy. And everyone we asked our bosses, we were like, hey, we know it's a sports show, but we want to have him on. And they were like, we live by that video. You've got to have him on the air. So have you heard any success stories in your time that have come out of your Crazy Hot Matrix?
Oh, dude, to this day, I mean, we're 6.5 years later and I didn't know you guys were out there doing this thing and gonna come and invite me. To this day, I posted something on my Instagram the other day, random guy I'd never met. I don't know who he is. I'll never meet him in real life. Texted me. He DM'd me a funny story about how he was dating some girl and he had to call the cops to get her out of the apartment. And as she's being dragged out in handcuffs, she's screaming that she's a unicorn. I mean,
no way.
I'm telling you, to this day that happens. I mean,
out of here.
Yeah. When it first went viral, it was summer of 2014, and that October, people were winning costume contests at bars for going as me. And then their girl goes as a unicorn, and they're carrying a whiteboard into the bar. And, so almost every Halloween, I Google the bit, and sure enough, someone's gone to the bar, and it's funny too, because like the takes that they have on me is like total nerded out, and I get it. I mean, like the glasses and the tie and stuff, but
from academia,
right?
Yeah,
that just added to the
yeah.
That is so funny. Now, I was asking Drake before we got you on here, is there a way to self-assess on the Crazy Hot Matrix? Because obviously in a relationship, it's two people, ideally. I mean, you get some weirdos, but ideally it's two people, right?
Yeah.
So if you have a good assessment of one person, how do you self-assess yourself to see where you fall in the Matrix? Because I'm assuming there can be some give and take there, no?
You mean like, how does a girl know where she falls?
Dana, JD wants to know where he ranks.
How hot am I, Dana? Tell me how hot I am. All right? I want to know.
Man, that's a whole different semester of Matrix. I'll have to do a follow-up class on that one.
We're eagerly looking forward to that.
Yeah. So that's second semester Matrix. You have to be invited to that class.
Okay.
So, and is there on the flip side of that, for the ladies out there that are watching, where can they go to find, hey, I'm dating this guy who's like a 7.5. He's like a 4 crazy.
Yep.
I mean, where does this fall for the women?
Oh, this is easy. So most people saw the video that got clipped, but at the end of the original, which you can find on my YouTube channel, I did the Matrix for women. I mean, I can do it. I could tell you now, or I could show you now if you like. But the bottom line is that for women, it's much simpler because women are much more selective than men. So women's no-go zone is vast. If you are not at least an 8 on the cute scale, or at least an 8 on the money, fame, and power scale, you are in the no-go zone.
Wow. And how does that look? Are there as many quadrants?
No.
What's the range I would love to see it. If you've got an example, I would love to see it, because I know we have a lot of people tuning in that they want to know. The ladies don't want to feel left out today.
You want a screen share?
Oh, come on. We're doing
Please.
it. Armstrong's got the screen share open. This is a free course right now.
Yeah.
This right here is like, you ever watch the YouTube ads that come up and it's like,
I do.
the courses in music, or Hans Zimmer is teaching you how to be or somebody that leads an orchestra. This is better.
Yeah.
This is better than that.
All right, you want me to actually screen share on my iPad?
We got it.
It says it's disabled.
Armstrong, it's out on my end or your end? Our producer is.
That's all right. I can draw it and just hold it up.
that would be better. I think that would be better.
Okay. So,
this is a career-defining moment for us.
Ladies, this is for you.
Yeah, it's live. It's live TV. But keep asking me questions while I sketch this thing real quick.
So we had a question that came in too. One of our viewers asked, this is Steven from Virginia, as a person who was married and divorced someone who was in the no-go zone, how does he recover?
Okay, so get back out there and don't be in any hurry. Now I would, so how old is this guy?
Steven's probably 28,
we don't
30.
know.
Yeah, Steven's an enigma.
We don't
Steven
know.
is
I asked
at
that before the show. I don't know.
So he's a grown up. He's done the whole, went down the aisle, got the chick with the white dress, all that, right?
Right.
Okay, this is easy. All right. Well, I mean, you only do that once, right? You don't make a big deal out of your second one. Like you're just at that point, you're just
been here before.
flaunting your failure at that point.
As two people who have been down the aisle 0 times.
I also have not been down the aisle.
This is the advice that I'm about to give you is not the advice I would give to someone your age who's never done the traditional wedding. Okay, but if you've done that and you're now a grown up and the first one didn't work, here's what I would say: first date, you'll only go on a first date with someone to whom you have a strong physical attraction. Now, I don't have to tell men that, but I do have to tell women that because they'll talk themselves into it. They'll be like, oh, but he's so nice to puppies or whatever. And they're not attracted to him. So they figure that somehow they'll work themselves up into that and it won't happen. So men don't make that mistake. They already know if you're not attracted to them, don't go on a first date. First date, you go, you stay sober. It's short. You arrive separately, you leave separately. It's a daytime thing, maybe a cup of coffee. And the only purpose of the first date is to confirm or reject the theory that you are attracted to them physically. If you are, and if she is reciprocal to you, attracted, then you schedule a second date. And the second date goes like this. You go somewhere that's cozy and intimate with booze, and you both bring 10 questions.
Wow.
And you can ask anything you want.
Wow.
And anything. Yes, you can ask that. Whatever you want. Okay. And the second date, the rules are these. You each bring 10 questions. And when you are asked a question, you can leave, pass, or answer. And if you answer, then the answer has to be the unvarnished, raw, ugly truth. Okay.
Wow.
So if you get asked a question that you're like, oh, that's insane, I'm out. You just check, please, thank you, done. Right. Or you can say, I'm not comfortable answering that question, which is an answer. Or you can answer the question. If you both get 10 answers that you can live with, you should then go do the thing. And if that works out, you've got a shot at a relationship. But you've microwaved past all the nonsense where you lie to someone for 6 months and only later let them figure out that there's something that there is a deal breaker.
This is so
foolproof.
This is second date advice.
Yeah, you might look. This is why I'm saying it's not like the traditional young people falling in love thing. This is like a grown up. You know what you want. You know what you don't want. You don't want to waste a lot of time. Here's the thing: if you're a grown up, you don't want to meet somebody and get attached to their dog, and then 6 months later find out that there's a problem that can't be fixed, and now you're going to miss the dog.
I mean,
I've been there.
If there's a thing being done on the second date, if I'm understanding you correctly, you're attached to a lot more than just the dog, Dana.
Well, I'm saying you should figure out whether that part's going to work too.
Physical attraction
on the second date.
Well, the guy's already been married before.
I mean, whatever. I'm just saying, like, if you've cleared out the top 10 deal breakers, maybe it's time. I don't know. I'm not going to rush people into it, but like that's the next thing. That's like the check, and if that's good,
so like,
you got a shot.
So like from an abstract perspective.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
okay.
there, yeah.
I can be more on board with that.
Now, I like the course here. Did you not take notes?
I don't need to take notes.
I've got that. Now we've cleared the 10 question thing, so we know that they're either A, not that crazy, or B, that you can tolerate the 10 question answers. Then you find, okay, I'm physically attracted to them. All right, you're right. But also, we're not 30. We haven't been married before. So I bet, and Dana can fill us in, that this would look a lot different for those of us who are early 20s.
Yeah, you guys should do it the hard way.
Okay. What does the hard way look like, and is there a way to make it easy, Dana?
Well, use your matrix, plot data points, and then see where it goes. I mean, you guys aren't in any hurry, right? Like there's a whole sea of people out there.
Dana, we go to Baylor, and there's this little thing called the ring by spring, and if you don't get it, you don't get a degree. So I'm gonna need the easy way on a fast track.
See, don't buy the hype. That's ridiculous. Here, in all seriousness, as a divorce lawyer, I will tell you this. I have run so many divorces where the story was this, and I'm serious about this. The story was we were dating when we were seniors, and then we graduated. So we took jobs in the same town and rented an apartment. Well, and then it seemed like the thing to do was to get married. So we did. And then we had a kid. And then we both looked at each other and realized you're not even the person I liked 8 years ago. Let's bail. Let's get out of this. Right. So that whole timeline that gets inflicted upon young people about, well, what are we going to do now that we've graduated? I know, let's get married. That's insanity. Don't buy that.
There's a lot of truth to that.
No one's ever told me that before. Okay, here it is. Now,
Okay.
This is for the ladies out there.
Right. So as you can see, if you are an 8 cute, but you are not at least an 8 on the money, fame, and power scale, you are an F boy.
Wow.
F stands for fail boy.
Fail boy.
Okay, yeah. Once you are an 8 on the money, fame, and power scale, it is no longer relevant what you look like. You're husband material.
Wow. And so is there like a correlate? So what if you're a 9 cute and a 9 money, fame, power?
Well, right. Okay, fine. You're Brad Pitt. But
so I'm not. I'm Drake
Brad
Toll.
Pitt for $1,000, Alex.
Wow. So and
yeah,
is this as foolproof?
Dude, go on the internet and look up all the ugly dudes with hot chicks. And the only reason they got a hot chick is because they got money.
Is there a financial amount attached to those numerical?
Well, it's relative to the
matrix?
girl, right? Like, I mean, if she's an LA 10, then yeah, it's going to take a lot more money.
So it's sliding. So it's a sliding.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if she's a Midwest 6, it's different, right?
Wow. It varies. It varies. So on top of that, though, Dana, what is your advice? And this wasn't included in either of these. This is like outside of the course. We're going office hours right here.
Love it.
How do we become in the 8 or above in the money, power, and fame?
Pick something that you're good at and get better at it than everyone else.
You, bobsledding.
That's a lot.
Olympic bobsledding.
Got another call yesterday. True story.
This guy.
True story.
I mean, look, this whole follow your passion thing. Well, what if your passion is butterfly collecting?
Get really good.
There's money there.
Okay, fine. You're a butterfly collector.
There's money there somewhere.
Okay, all right, but only for the very best butterfly collector on the planet.
What if I'm really good at butterfly collecting?
Okay, good. You going to monetize that or just be a butterfly collector?
Flip it and tumble it, baby.
You tell me, Dana. What's going to make me the most money?
Well, I don't know what the market for butterfly collectors is, but you don't have to be a particularly good lawyer to live a good life. But I imagine that if you want to be a rich butterfly collector, you damn well better be the best one on the planet. And that sounds like it's a little more competitive.
That's true.
That's a lot of truth.
The butterfly collection industry has only it's only gotten more competitive.
Everyone's
as the years
saying
have gone
buy,
on.
That's truly a vertical industry. Like only the very best get any money out of it.
The rich and powerful butterfly collectors. So Dana, as we wrap up here, when it comes to your advice today, 6.5 years later from the release of that video, has anything changed? And what do you tell young men or just men across the board everywhere who look to you for dating and relationship advice now?
Don't marry anyone you haven't lived with for a year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. So at Baylor, that may not bode so well at a school that's more traditional like Baylor.
Listen, I realize that I'm not giving advice that is consistent with certain moral tenets. I get it. I'm a divorce lawyer. So I'm giving practical advice, and I'm telling you that if you don't live with someone, you don't know them. And if you don't live with them for a year, you don't know them the way that you should. And also, don't marry someone whose immediate family you have not met or had that family's absence explained satisfactorily.
Or who is immediate family.
Well, like brother, sister, father, mother.
No, I'm saying you shouldn't marry someone who is immediate family, let alone date someone who's immediate family, depending on
No, I'm
your
saying you shouldn't
geographical
marry
location.
someone. I'm saying you shouldn't marry someone whose immediate family you haven't
But
met.
are you also saying not to marry someone who's in your immediate family? Can you please confirm that as well?
That's a felony. So yeah, let's don't do that.
I have one more question. I don't know if Drake does. I have one more question to backtrack to the Matrix. Again, I'm sure you hear this a lot. I personally, I'll give you, here are all my cards. I believe I have indeed found a unicorn, Dana. How do I keep this unicorn?
Keep all the poachers away.
Okay.
And Dana being one of those too, because Dana did say that if you find a unicorn, you're supposed to ship it to him.
Never mind, forget whatever I said.
If you have in fact found a unicorn, good for you. Initiate replication sequence.
Okay.
Make more of them.
Okay.
Make more of them. And Dana, I'm guessing you haven't been sent too many unicorns in your days to evaluate, have you?
Man, I get self-professed unicorns on social media all the time.
Sure.
And ones that get arrested and drug out of apartments, too, that are also apparent unicorns.
Yeah, I'm saying that was proof positive that she wasn't what she said she was.
Probably not. I'm sure most of the unicorns that say they are not. But Dana, look, man, this right here, this is what it's all about.
Gold. Right. Yeah.
Now I feel so much more
Sports
prepared.
show gold.
As a young college kid, I feel so much more prepared to go into the world. We needed to take a break from sports.
Man, you haven't learned a thing at Baylor more helpful than this.
I haven't. This, and guess how much I paid for this in comparison to my tuition?
They should be paying me for teaching this class.
They should imagine.
I should be like an adjunct professor at Baylor.
Tell me someone has reached out to you at a university, at least for a lecture.
Oh, the academic world scoffs at me, and I just look at them and go, well, that's fine. You can teach them all the butterfly collecting you want. I got something useful.
Yeah, you hear that, butterfly collectors? I'm not collecting them anymore.
Yeah,
I'm a man now.
Go down to your J school and tell them what you learned today.
Yeah, I love that. That's the best line yet. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, compare that tuition to this tuition. I would take this crash course every day of the week.
Priceless. And I'm just doing it because I'm a good dude and I want to change the world for the better. They're doing it for money. So you tell me who's got it right.
And this guy is changing the world day by day, men across the nation, and now specifically at Baylor University, the crazy hot matrix.
I'm glad it's alive and well at the age group that needs it the most.
Oh my goodness. I am like, that's the thing. I don't know if we know, like there are so few people that when I was like, yeah, crazy hot matrix guy. They were like, yeah. I know exactly who that is. Our producer watched it at a church. What was it?
The Bible study.
The first time I ever watched it was a Bible study, and then that entire rest of that Bible study, all we did was just analyze it and discuss
break it down.
Yeah.
Wow. And foolproof to this day.
And here's the thing. 300 million reviews later, and it has not been rebutted.
Wow. There is no...
So, I mean, it's not just science. It's now a law.
It is. There it is. You heard it here first.
It is no longer a hypothesis.
Wow. It is established, and the people know it as truth. The crazy hot matrix guy, Dana McClendon, joining us today on Uptempo. Dana, any final thoughts here? Because I just want to soak in all the wisdom I can get.
Man, you know, I'm just here to serve. So if you need me again, if you need a follow-up, you just let me know. I'll be here.
Dana, the next date I go on, that's the first call we're making. We're going to review that.
I'll tell you what, if you take a girl out and she's familiar, or you sure, and she says, that's not funny, you should leave.
Yeah. It's the perfect level of satire.
Hey, if they genuinely don't think it's funny and you do, that is a deal breaker. Because you don't want to go through the rest of your life getting scolded for teaching your son that some things are funny and some things aren't. I mean, come on.
The no-go zone.
That's not a life you want to lead.
So, but like you said in the video, she could vanish. She could be in the wife zone, and if she doesn't like the video, she vanishes into the no-go zone.
That's why you got to collect the data points over time.
Wow, I love it. Dana McClendon, the crazy hot matrix guy, thanks so much for joining Uptempo today.
I couldn't have been happier to do it.
Oh, my goodness.
Not his first rodeo.
Not his first. I want to go on a date now. And then review it with give him a call. Call him up and be like, hey, Dana, I want on a date tonight. I kind of walk you through it.
Can that be a Bear Games? Like first caller instead of what do we have? We have what, green and blank?
What do we do? We did that one day.
First caller gets a date with Drake Toll.
First caller, Armstrong will take you out to dinner and buy your dinner. We did that once.
I was hoping.
I've literally gone on a date for charity before.
That was the single most narcissistic, not narcissistic thing I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, it was a charity date.
He's a man of the people.
I went on a date one time.
It was a prize.
And that charity is never wanted another dime ever again. They were good. They were good for a while after that date.
No, that's not true.
People, I beg to differ.
Collect your data points and your analysis. I feel like that right there. I feel enlightened.
Just stay out of the no-go zone.
Stay out of the no-go zone.
I feel like I know myself better, too, after seeing the other Matrix.
Find a unicorn.
8 to 8.
Yeah. And the ladies out there got their matrix as well. Yeah. English. Wow.
It was mind-blowing, to say the
I'm
least.
kind of, I feel a little bit out of, I'm just in a different world right now, a little bit. There's a large part of me that's like, what just happened on our show?
Yeah. I'm not going to say I agree with him on every single point, but I think as a whole, he and I see eye to eye on a lot of things.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah.
You and Dana McClendon, the crazy hot matrix guy, way more in common than maybe you thought. Unbelievable. Well, here's what we got. We got a caller online, Stephen from Virginia. We're going to hold till after the break. Bring it right back after Armstrong's minute and a quick break. Wow. Lawn Boys Power Hour. Dana McClennan, the crazy hot Matrix guy, just joined the show. I'm Drake Toll. That's J.D. Pickell. And this is Up Tempo.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new Lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.